Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the third SRL Indy 250. That says the bar around 6 hours. I'm not too sure why, but this is the SRL Indy 250. I can assure you that much, and what a race we are set to have this evening. We're currently just in qualifying. I am Tom Dillon. In fact, that has put up the Global Endurance modding. Global Endurance modding overlay, so I'm not too sure how that's happened actually. Let me see if I can fix that one. We've got Edward Hunter alongside us. Technical difficulties. You see, it's confusing me because I've selected SRL, the Global Endurance.
You've even got the little hashtag at the bottom where you can get in contact with us. SRL Indy 250. Ed Hunter, by the way, but you can just call me Ed. Thanks, Tom.
I've got the, you know, this is slightly frustrating because I have the overlay, it's all working, and well, the Global Endurance modding one is in a completely different folder. So I'll delete it, refresh once more, and see if we can eventually get this working correctly. There we go! All it took was to delete the Global Endurance modding thing. But here we are at the Indy 250, and there's
Let's hope we don't need that later.
Yes, and well, there's only a few minutes left in qualifying now, and we will be going to a Super 6 qualifying. I don't think it's called a Super 6 qualifying, but I'm going to call it.
Well, I think because this is usually the ERC Formula E server that Pascal Leggett has helped loan out SRL. So basically, we're doing the same kind of thing with the. Roger was just trying to talk to us for some reason there. Let's get rid of him. But basically, in Formula E, when they do the group stages, and then the top 5 from the group stages have Super Pole. So basically doing a similar thing here, but for the top 6. So anyway, Tom, do you want to take us through the current top 6 in qualifying at the moment?
I will, and I do apologise to the viewers. We're going to have to go to a banner overlay because essentially something has messed up on the overlay end, and it's actually a mix and match of all the different overlays I've got saved on my system. So
wow, you know, you're sounding very organised right now.
Yes, well,
which is exactly what the viewers will be reassured by.
The frustrating thing is, it was working about 10 minutes ago. I tested everything, and for some reason, it's just
that's what everybody says.
And for some reason, R Factor 2 has just thrown another curveball at me. But anyway, the top 6 out of the.
That's a bit wide coming out of the pits there a couple of seconds ago by whoever we've been watching on stream.
Roberto Pignataro, there we go, leads the way. Fabian Ballet is in second position from David Wasserman. Carl Magnus Bore is in fourth. Alejandro Valente and Tobias Blumschein round out the top 6. So not too long left in the qualifying session, and we're having a look at David Wasserman now.
And I believe Tobias just in Chris Davis actually getting into the top 3 now as well. So that puts Tobias back on the bubble. So just behind him, Valente, as you say, and then Emily Carson, Peter Schum, and Arda Erkan. That's your top 10 at the moment.
Riding on board.
Very, very small amounts between them all, of course.
Riding on board with Wasserman then on his outlap in these brand new Dallara IR18 Indy cars. New in the game as well, all on a setup of these drivers. It's all fixed, and David Wasserman is going to go for an attempt at pole position here. He's currently in 4th. Is he going to be able to bump himself up the order a little bit? We're waiting for confirmation from the race director from when this qualifying session is actually going to be over. It's not 40 minutes, of course, as Ed mentioned a little bit ago. Wasserman takes a very early entry and is down ever so slightly, only by 0.04 of a second. And look at how close he's running the car up to the wall here. He's absolutely...
He bumped the wall, actually, at
yes,
before turn 2, yeah.
Going to head down. They should be getting up to about 230 mile an hour, and he's almost losing a tenth now of Wasserman. And this just shows how many fine margins there are in this session at the moment between these drivers. Wasserman could quite easily make up all of that time in the third sector. I'm not too sure if he's going to. In fact, he is. It's a 41-1. He doesn't improve, I don't think, in the end, but he was purple in the final sector, and they can go for a couple of laps at a time, these drivers, but it's a bump of the wall from Wasserman, and now he's going to have to keep the car on a knife edge heading through the rest of this lap. He is yellow in the first sector once again, 0.05 of a second off. Heads down now into turn 2. Or turn 3, I suppose this is.
It's all just one continuous turn, depending on how you look at it. It's all the same direction, isn't it? Left-handers. But yeah, Wasserman trying to get those 9,000ths of a second that will bring him closer to Chris Davis, who driving for Iris, I believe, just putting a monster lap actually.
And it was almost pole. As I apologise, and it was almost pole position from Wasserman. 1,000th of a second he was off in the end on his previous lap. And he's yellow once again in the first sector, so it clearly is that third sector where Wasserman has really lost a lot of time.
Pushing it right now, purple first sector.
As we have a look at Ballet, and he is going to go into pole position by the slimmest of margins, and it's only going to be a couple of hundredths of a second in the end for Fabian Ballet.
And that's the fastest lap we've seen pretty much all week as well, 40.953.
And Pignataro cannot really answer to that at the moment. He is out of the pits, however, and it's going to be a 141.0 from David Wasserman. So he's really actually he's getting closer and closer. Is Wasserman, but his best is a 41.025. So he's really just trying to make sure that the tyres can stay in temperature. Of course, in the real world, it would be a 4-lap average. However, here it's just single laps. We don't quite have the ability to do 4-lap averages and all of that. And Wasserman clearly has this car set up for quite a few laps. He's got all the momentum he needs. However, he is 1/10 off, so I think perhaps we could see Wasserman coming to the pits after this one. I'm not too convinced he's going to be able to take pole position here. And across the line, it is going to be a 41.1. So Wasserman does back out of it in the end. And a few other drivers actually all into the pits. I'm trying to see if we can find anyone. Here is Pignataro.
Yeah, keep an eye on that top 6 cutoff, because that's the big thing at the moment, isn't it? Bore, the last one in, just ahead of Tobias Blumschein. It's 7,000ths of a second, that is the margin. And then between Valente, Wasserman and Bore, 4th, 5th and 6th, it's just 1,000th of a second each time. So it's so tight between those guys.
Pignataro is only marginally off, and this could be a third sector that sees him get the 200ths of a second that he needs to take pole position away from Fabian Ballet at this stage. What's it going to be across the line? It's going to be an improvement, but it's not going to be enough. In fact, it was 1,000th of a second in the end that he was off his previous best lap time, but he is going to go again. Pignataro, they can afford to go a couple of laps here, and in fact sometimes it works out for them. It's purple in the first sector from Pignataro. We're going to have to wait to see for the second sector as to really if this lap is going to be as good as we currently think it is. As we said, it's such a knife edge.
Yeah, Arisaka's actually just gotten into the top 6 now. Mishiro Arisaka in the Iris, so that it's all a bunch of Iris drivers disputing that final Super Pole.
He's purple again in the virtual drivers by TX3 car. And is it going to be enough across the line? It is. Pole position for Roberto Pignataro, at least in this pre-qualifying, essentially, session. Bump day was yesterday, which is officially called pre-qualifying. However, this is really the chance for the drivers to get into that Super 6 session. Yesterday was a little bit of an academic quality about it. Carl Magnus Bore is right on the cusp. He is currently on a lap for Monkey Esports, which I have to say is not the most serious team on the grid. Bore really within a chance.
You've talked about their livery before, haven't you, Tom, on our streams?
Yes.
In the last year. But yeah, Pignataro, of course, a runner-up in the FSR Indy 300 earlier in the year, of course. So he's got lots of experience here, and this is a happy hunting ground for him. So no surprise to see him. And
yeah, Bore pulls out of that one, and in fact, Valente knocks Chris Davis off 4th position. And I believe we've got 2 minutes left in this qualifying session.
Yeah, if I'm responding to things that they happen, that's because you're seeing them before I am. You and the audience at home. So I'm going to sound like a drunken stepdad who doesn't know what the hell is going on and is just giving random commentary. But that's unfortunately the way it has to be. So I'll just staring at the timing screen constantly.
A DIY setup today. We didn't quite anticipate Ed wasn't going to be able to see the game. But,
well, that's what happens when you use a Mac, because you have to edit. So.
Yes.
Not really a game designed for Mac users. Valente punches in.
Dear.
Oh, that was a good lap actually by Valente, and then he just went straight on, I think, and then to the pits.
Carl Magnus Bore is back out, and in the final couple of minutes of this qualifying session, I believe when it hits 35 minutes, race director Chris Gitzoff will come over the radio and tell everyone that.
I was wondering who you were talking about there, because Chris was originally supposed to be one of the competitors, and he's very kindly agreed to help with the race direction. So taking one for the team very much is Chris Gitzoff. Although we won't have any in, as he said in the drone, we won't have anyone in the safety car for the formation lap because Chris is going to be race directing and can't race direct from the safety car. So I believe everyone on track is at time apart from Ryan Mazumda and in 23rd, and we might have had someone disconnect because we did have 24 in the server earlier.
Yes, someone has disconnected. I'm not too sure who. Previous race winner Anthony Nickbon, running the number 1 car, is currently down in 22nd position. Of course, we've had 3 runnings of this event. Carlos Martin won the first one, Anthony Nickman won the second one, and someone here today is going to etch their name.
Oh, there we go.
You can finish your laps, but you cannot do anymore.
So Carl Magnus Bore then has got a lot of pressure on this lap. He's going to try all he can to get into that top 6. It's not too much of a margin. The number 72 car of Mario Arisaka is currently right on the cusp. Carl Magnus Bore is right on the cusp himself. He heads across the line. Is it going to be into the Super 6 for Carl Magnus Bore? Let's have a look. Yes, he is. Third. Arisaka is knocked out of qualifying, and everyone else, I don't think anyone else is on a lap. I'm looking through my timing screen.
But look at Arisaka set the exact same time as David Wasserman, 3 thousandths to the nearest thousandths of a second. So there was nothing in that, quite literally. Yeah, exactly.
And, well...
So David Wasserman sneaks in by the skin of his teeth, really, and he'll be pleased with that.
The fine margins, as we are going to take you through the session results, if I can. And R Factor 2 Racing Series, Nürburgring, Nordschleife, 24 hours apparently, and that page isn't working. So, as is R Factor 2.
How about I can just read the live timing if that's helpful.
That works.
Okay, so Roberto Pignataro set the fastest time of the session, 40.953, 18 hundredths of a second ahead of his teammate Fabian Ballet. Then third, it was Carl Magnus Bore. Fourth, it was Alessandro Valente. Both of them driving for Monkey Esports, I believe. Or was Bore driving for Iris? I can't remember.
Bore is...
Chris Davis.
Iris.
I think... Yeah, he is. Okay, so it's Iris, then Monkey Esports fourth. Chris Davis in another Iris takes fifth. David Wasserman.
Okay, we are moving to warm-up now.
As I said, exact same time as Arisaka. So we're going straight to warm-up, so there might not actually be a Super Bowl. And then behind Arisaka, it's his teammate Emily Callison. Tobias Blumschein, 9th. Cameron Roger, 10th. Peter Schumann will start 11th. Andrei Borotowski, 12th. Cal Lestola, 13th. Arda Erkan, 14th. Alex Hallis, 15th. Pascal Eggert, 16th. Joe Blahoven, 17th. Jorge Lopez, 18th. Andrei Kanakowicz will start 19th. Michael Cole will start 20th.
Warm-up will be 10 minutes. Race will begin at 18:47.
Arne Marquetin will start 21st. Anthony Nickpon, 22nd. James Smagersgale will start 23rd after just getting a lap in at the end. And Ryan Mazumda will bring up the rear in 24th position.
So, no Super Pole in the end. Unfortunately, no Super 6. However, we are going to...
I guess there just wasn't time.
Yes, I imagine so.
Because we are a bit behind schedule.
And, well, we're going to be going to a short break during this warm-up session. We'll be back in about 10 minutes' time for the start of the 3rd ever SRL Indianapolis 250. We'll see you then.
Nobody knows who he's driving.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to the SRL Indy 250, the third running of this event, and you'll be pleased to know, dear viewer, that we fixed the overlay. And for those who are more technically inclined, I'll give you a little bit of insight into what went wrong. Essentially, just before we went live, I changed the colour of the overlay to blue, so that you can see the keep it in theme with the series. And, well, I forgot to speak.
Yeah, the S is blue in SRL for a reason, I guess.
Yes. And I forgot a speech mark in the end, which is it's the old forgetting a semicolon at the end of your line in programming, and it basically messed up the entire overlay. But it is fixed now, and well,
didn't you pay attention in ITB Tech, Tom?
Well, I mean,
maybe you didn't do ITB Tech. That sounds maybe a bit beyond ITB Tech. Maybe.
I'm targeting an A star in computer science GCSE.
Whoa!
So,
Somebody spun on the entrance to the pit lane there.
Yes, they have indeed, and
in the warm-up, yeah.
Tom Dillon and Edward Hunter with you, of course, and let's just have
yeah, he's Tom Ahmed.
Yes, and
just to avoid confusion.
Let's have a look at the results from qualifying one, if we can get them up.
Yeah, I think I just threw them earlier, but it's worth you going through them too, Tom,
yes,
if we can.
It is worth going through.
It probably didn't save them because I don't think it saved them because you were busy resetting everything.
Yes, that might be the reason, but anyway.
Anyway, what we do know for sure, Tom, is that it's virtual drivers by TX3 in the form of Roberto Pignataro and Fabian Ballet who lock out the front row. And we're looking at, I think, both of them on track now at the moment in the warm-up. And they'll certainly be working together in the opening phase of the race. And I imagine we'll see them both swapping lead a couple of times, at least throughout the first phase, before we start getting into the strategy element, which is, of course, making the field last. There's Gitsov on...
Race beginning now. So...
Okay.
That sounded confident.
Yes. Well, I think we're going to get the race underway.
Well,
we'll see.
Gitsov's tone is anything to go by. We're in for some interesting times ahead.
There should be safety cars aplenty here, and keep an eye for that.
Except that nobody's around to drive the safety car. I think they're hoping someone will retire early in the race, and then they'll drive the safety car. That's how low we are on people. We only got a grid of 24 as well. From originally, we had 43 entrants, and we're supposed to whittle it down to 33. Yeah.
102 laps then. It's going to be 2 formation laps, then a 100 lap race here around the 2.5 mile Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Of course, this is a bit of a precursor in the virtual world for tomorrow's real life Indianapolis 500. And, well, I don't think the winner of this will be quite as famous as whoever picks up the victory tomorrow. However,
no, we got to hype them up, you know.
Yes. They'll certainly
it would certainly be great story for Roberto Pignataro, of course, runner-up to Liam Duval in the FSR Indy 300 back in January. And I did the highlights for that race, which is why I mention it. But how much would it mean to Roberto Pignataro to get not just another podium, but potentially the top step? And it would certainly be more than pleased as punch for pole position. Interesting, while we're doing that warm-up, David Wasserman actually eclipsed Pignataro's pole time. We did see he was really threatening to do it, but he did actually do it in the warm-up, 48.836, so almost a whole tenth faster. So Wasserman down in 6th position, a big threat actually, potentially.
And what I can bring you is the starting order now, if this wants to work. And Roberto Pignataro is on pole position. Alongside him is his teammate Fabian Ballet. Carl Magnus Bore starts in 3rd for Monkey Esports. Alejandro Valente starts in 4th. Chris Davis is in 5th. David Wasserman is in 6th.
Make sure you keep 150 kph.
Emily Callison starts 8th for Team Iris, the number 87. Tobias Blumstein also in an 87, but not the 87. He's in 9th. Cameron Rogers starts 10th. Peter Schoenemann in 11th, and then Boratovsky is in 12th. Calais Lestola is in 13th. Arda Erkin starts 14th. Alex Hallows 15th. Pascal Eggert 16th.
The drivers that are behind
starts 17th. Jorge Lopez starts 18th. And then it is Canon Goff-Fix in 19th, and then Michael Koll in 20th. Arne Markatuken starts in 21st, Anthony Nippon 22nd, and then James Smagazone is in 23rd. Ryan Mazumda starts 24th. And, well, I think anyone could take the win here today. I don't think it's going to be anyone starting in the top 5.
And please maintain double file throughout both laps. Thank you.
Yeah, we got a couple of stragglers at the back who don't seem to have got going. Smaggers, Gale, Cole, and Erkan are showing right at the back, Tom. I'm not sure if you can see them on track anywhere.
And they're in the pits,
I'm seeing 2 of them in the pits and 1 of them on the start-finish line, actually.
Yes, so something has happened to Arasaka. His
Arasaka's stuck.
I think his engine could have overheated when he was on the straight, and as the cars
That's a big shame for the 72. Yeah, he's stuck there. They're all going to have to go by him.
So he's away now, and 3 people will not be starting this race. So the rest of the field snake on through for the second.
We're down to just 21 runners then, I think.
For the second of the 2.
Provided Arasaka can get going again.
And he won't be able to now because the race is technically officially started. By
20 runners then.
And, well, they snake on through turn 1.
Okay, I'll restart the session as they're DNF'd.
I did think that might be the course of action that race director Chris Skitsov would take, and he's just confirmed it now. So we will have to wait again. Valente has somehow jumped everyone despite the race not getting going.
There is a safety car. Why is that there?
He said he was going to restart the session, so that would be a bit hypocritical not to do that now.
No, there was a safety car on track for a moment, and I was just wondering why on earth is that there? Oh dear. Ed, I think...
Who was driving that? Was that Tobias?
No, R-Factor 2 have just done a new safety car system. I think because we had drivers going slowly on track, I think the game is automatically...
What's going on in that garage?
The
car trying to escape.
I think that's how an Indy Lights car is manufactured, to be honest. And,
bad to say born there. You're going to give us the birds and bees talk, Tom.
But
anyway,
that's actually
keep this
yes on course. But I think that could actually be a concern if that is a case of the R-Factor 2 is
attention everybody, please make sure that you have assigned buttons to the starter and the ignition buttons so you can start your engines.
So the good news is we're going to be starting around 5 o'clock UK time, which I suppose is a good thing. It means, unfortunately, we'll all have to miss the first half of the Champions League final, but I think this race should be just as entertaining.
Oh, what a shame! Me, who is such a massive football fan, will have to miss the Champions League final. The
positive in watching the SRL Indy 250 over the Champions League final is that there's no possibility that Liverpool can win this one.
No, that's certainly true, as we see them messing around in the garage as we wait for the race to be put back up again.
So,
but yeah, we're certainly going to end quite late at this phase, at this rate at least.
And yes, with the safety cars as well, this race could go on well past an hour and a half.
It's almost just as well we didn't do the Super Pole, because
yes,
if we had to do this as well, we'd be well running at this point.
I do apologise if there's any issues with the audio mixing. R-Factor 2's got a slight issue at the moment where getting it perfect is very, very tricky. So hopefully you can hear the cars just okay. I think it's the exterior shots that are okay, but the onboards might be a little bit difficult to keep an eye on. And, but my voice is going to be feeling this after today, Ed. I did 3 hours of Rocket League commentary last night in the middle of the night.
Oh, wow.
I was called in to do it at 12 AM to 3 AM. And,
well, there you go. You're combining football and cars once more. Yes. You're just talking about Champions League final.
The interesting with that one, which I found, this is a tangent, but we're not going to be starting for a few minutes now, so I think I can afford a tangent. The interesting thing about that one is you don't realise how much you've got muscle memory from commentating on cars for so long. You don't understand the amount of times that I called the Rocket League players drivers and things like that. It's a difficult thing to get your head around. However, we continue on in this one, and I think Chris Gitsoff is just trying to figure out what happened to those back 3 who unfortunately were out of the race before it even started. And hence the restart. And I think it is going to be a concern if it is a case of the car's going slowly, which means the R Factor 2 safety car comes out. Theoretically,
Update as
better.
there's some issue with the server. It will take some
typical.
time for
We
us
had a
to
DDoS attack, I think.
fix the settings. So the race will begin at 6:05. If you have any questions, you're
So that's
feel
10
free
minutes
to
away, I
ask
think.
me, Tobias, or Anton.
That's the
It's
that's
of course
the issue.
Central European time.
Yeah.
So
I would bet money on that being the issue that I was talking about.
that's typical.
Actually, let me.
Well, the one where you changed the speech wall.
The issue with the safety car. I think the new R52 safety car system has been throwing safety cars because of the formation laps, so they're going to have to go and turn that off. I think some of the drivers saw because I saw the safety car come onto the track, didn't I? So I reckon that's what's happened. I reckon R52 was throwing a safety car and there was nothing they could really do about it. Let's ride in the driver's eye for a moment with whoever's on track, because I can't find any.
Oh, it looks like a couple of cars just got inside of one another a couple of seconds ago.
And well, actually, there's no one on track right now. So, oh no, there we go. Ryan Mazumda is in. Let's have a little drive.
Yeah, I was just saying, I can see 3 people on track. Mazumda on the live races, just showing some flames coming out of the back of him. So he was setting personal bests. Now it's showing him in the pit lane, I think.
Because I'm not sure what the viewers prefer. This driver's eye view or the T-cam. And well, I quite like it actually. It looks.
Yeah. Well, there's 4 viewers, including me. So was Harry 74044, I think, typed something during the break, and he said, "Is there a broadcast?" And then JG220 has said, "Monkeys supremacy." So there's probably one other person who's watching. He just hasn't said anything.
That would be me, actually.
All right. Right, there we go. So we're all accounted for then.
Yes.
The thing about having a small audience is at least everyone knows who they are.
Yes, and
I guess the reason the audience isn't bigger is because everyone else is busy driving or busy watching like Monaco qualify. Oh, I guess that's over now. Maybe they're watching F2 or something. Anyway.
or the Champions League final, whose stream always.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Hours before, and we've got a big European contingent here, so Champions League final, massive event for Europeans. Looking at Jorge Lopez, and there's not a great deal to commentate on when it comes to
Nope.
the warm-up session.
No offense meant to Jorge Lopez. He's
No.
a fabulous driver.
And oh dear, something's happened, and it's involved Jorge Lopez not doing a great deal, and no, it appears I disconnected from the session. So
We got a great view there of some of the crowd in the stands, though. The
Yes,
virtual
that's
crowd,
lovely.
of course.
So
They're not real people.
we'll be right back, it says, and what's actually happened is I think they've had to restart the server. Either that or I disconnected.
All right.
But that would make sense because to change settings in R-Factor 2, you have to.
It's really hard to build up to anything when we keep having to do this, isn't it?
Yes.
It's sort of like
I think the best
it might
course,
start soon.
I think the best
at
course
some
of action
point.
is we'll go to a break for a moment and then come back for the race starts. So we'll see you in a moment. Welcome back, everybody, to the SRL Indy 250 for the real time. Now, we hope, after that little demo formation lap, we're back going. And I do apologise for having to faff around with the settings. We've had yet more R-Factor 2 game issues, but the most important thing is that I, Tom Dillon, am here, and alongside me still is Edward Hunter, just hanging in there. And, well, you have to feel for Ed. He can't even see the game. So, really, we're
Well,
quite
I
lucky.
can see what you're seeing, but about
Yes.
10 or 5 or 10 seconds after. But I've got the live timing, and that's all you need sometimes. So anything that Tom doesn't notice, I'll hopefully notice. And well, I'm sort of seeing a live action replay just constantly, is the way I look at it. But it's certainly very, very competitive, and it's unfortunately we had to wait such a long time. But the plus side is it has given Alfie Bevan enough time to join the server.
Yep.
What was it? Esports that drives for? I know that's what Emily Callison drives, so I can't remember who Emily's teammate is.
Monkey Esports. Alfie Bevan.
Alfie's Monkeys. That's why Alessandro was so keen to get him in at the back of the field. But he will be our 25th starter. I know Thomas Abascal has just gotten back from, like, I don't know, family dinner somewhere and is desperately trying to get in time as well. But I think he might be just a bit too slow starting up the computer.
Do you know, Monkey Esports are the monkey virus before the current monkey virus.
Ooh.
And they're everywhere. And oh, we've restarted again. And I'm sort of trying to figure out why.
Okay, well, I'm sure Chris will elucidate.
Oh, but they're
I'm
waiting
making
for
up
a
words.
bicycle. And
Of course they are.
and well, Boratovsky is sort of,
Abascal the rascal.
We're
strikes
restarting
again.
because there is a driver late. Start the race now.
and
If somebody decides to leave now, they're just not going to race at this point. We are 40 minutes late, so...
It is a bit ridiculous.
Boratovsky remonstrating with the race director, trying to question why we're not getting going here. And I have to say, I share his frustrations a little bit. It's very frustrating. Why are we waiting on a driver when we're 40 minutes late? Says Michael Cole. And I have to completely agree with him. I think there comes a point when it's just got silly, and I think we're approaching that point where it's getting silly. We've still got.
Yeah, Bascal looks like he's got in though.
And you know, if
It looks
this
like he was in the server.
this was a 15-minute touring car race, I would probably agree. However, it's not. So, you know, we've got an hour
Yeah,
and a
this
half
is
to get
102 laps. Yeah, exactly.
People have got things to be getting on with later.
Yeah, people want to eat dinner later on at some point.
Exactly. Yes. But,
Let's just race, I beg, says Alessandro. That's not what he was saying earlier. I guess because Abascal is in the server now. So we got Alfie Bevan and Abascal the Rascal who will join the party. Alessandro saying shouldn't have restarted for a late driver. Okay, it's interesting how drivers change their tune. I'm seeing the live chat messages right next to people's heads. So it feels like I don't know, MSN Messenger or something.
And I
But
do
it's
apologise if
interesting.
there was any background noise down my microphone there. My brother's upset my dad somehow. And, in one of the many creative ways he finds to do that. So
Yeah, it's funny. As we were having like the restart, I got a message from my dad saying, "Oh, ask Mum if she wants us to bring back Chinese takeaway." And it's I'm doing commentary, Dad. It's okay, I'll phone her.
You say you're doing commentary, and it doesn't stop them shouting at each other.
Well,
so, I mean, really.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've had to do some awkward commentaries at times, especially during some of the 24-hour races. But
yes, the
a lot can
24-hour
happen in
races.
a
That's
day.
really when it gets commentary gets raw and real. But anyway, they are underway.
well, I'm not sure why it's showing Arasaka and Smagasgale
Yes, this
on the
isn't
front
the
row,
starting
when I'm
order.
pretty sure it's supposed to be the TX3. It's supposed to be the TX3 drivers. It's Pignatara and Ballet, who are they still in the cert? Ballet's showing 6th. Nataro's down in 16th, I think.
Yes. Now this isn't the starting order, so I don't know what's going on.
Arasaka's won the lottery here.
And I wonder if they're just going to say, okay, never mind, qualifying's
Sod it.
null
Let's
and
just start
void.
like this.
Yes,
Okay.
sod it. Let's just get going. And,
If I were Roberto Pignataro, I would be a bit annoyed.
yes, but I'd also probably be a little bit more annoyed at the 40 minutes late starting time and just say, you know what, I'm happy to start from the back.
I guess people aren't taking it that seriously. Alessandro Valente, he'll be happy because he's sort of roughly where he was. In fact, slightly better because I think he gained 2 positions out of this.
And the good news is, I suppose, if everything has a silver lining, is that you can get back quite easily and all. There's there's a few lags and
Somebody coming out the pit lane.
It's Tobias, I think. No, someone's accelerating away. This is all very messy, isn't it? And
I think it might be Bevan or a Baskel joining the order.
I'm having a few minor connection issues here as well, so I do apologise to the viewers for that. I'm hoping they'll iron themselves out in a moment.
Look at that, 19th for Pignataro.
He's back.
Well, he's got a big. He's going to get a big draft from everyone in front of him. I guess they're letting him through now, are they?
Yes, he's got back up into first position, just ahead of Arasaka. And in fact, no, Arasaka is accelerated round. What is he doing?
What? Not sure. It's showing him about a couple of seconds. 1.8. He's slowing down a bit, so he's going to let Pignataro through.
Now,
there you go.
What's happened here? I think the race director, when they restarted the server, must have forgot to save the batch file. And essentially, a batch file, you can.
Okay, as the options are all wrong, I think we should be restarting this. I'm sorry, guys, for this. So, yeah, it will begin in past 20.
To be fair, we've only got 2 of the people who qualified missing, so 26 starters is actually pretty decent. But yeah, a shame that they didn't quite put out the order in time.
I think
just as the TX3 drivers get back to the front, everyone is like, oh, I can't remember where I qualified, so let's just restart it.
I think
we did say on stream though, so
you could say to this at this point.
This is so bloody disorganized. It's like these people aren't even—they're like fucking half asleep half the time.
Yes, maybe.
But I suppose this is what happens when you organize everything at the last minute, and everyone's lost interest now and is crashing into each other. Yeah, there you go.
And well, I have to say, it frustrates me, and I don't mean to criticise a league that. Well, I mean, I founded this league with Anthony and I think it was Massey, Sophie Jones, and Maxime Krauset back in the day, early 2020. So I don't mean to be too harsh. But it does feel like with, just little things like, what was it that restarted, that changed about 8 times? Was it bump day? The sort of, the way that was being ran changed 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I just feel a bit indecisive. A couple of moments in the chat. Ted says, oh my god, I love Carl Magnus Bore. He is my favourite driver. Or he just calls him C. Bore.
Yes.
Joe Gillette says hola, which is hello in Spanish. JG220 says Monkey Esports W incoming. He's a big fan of Monkey Esports. And Rhymerism just says bro moment.
Yes, Joe Goodstart is very a big fan of Monkey Esports, I'm hearing. So.
Okay. I think he was signed up to race at one point, and I think had to drop out.
But it's just little things like bump day changing 3 times. It went from half an hour on the day to 4 to 8.
2 hours, yeah.
It went from 40 minutes to 8 hours, 8 till 3 in the morning, and then it went to 12 to 12, and it was just like, I mean, just felt indecisive and left a bit of a sore taste in the mouth, and but it was
not as big of a sore taste as this race has so far, or rather,
lack of
this non-existent race. Yeah, there are a couple of jokes. There are a couple of people saying, "I'll disqualify Nick Pon and everything will work fine." And Nick Pon says, "Oh, the problem is the server has a Swedish IP address." So I'm not sure why that would affect.
But we're desperate to bring you live pictures. However, we're just waiting for the grid to be sorted out. As far as Pascal Egger has been sorted out now, 16th on the grid, so only a few more people to go. And everything that could go wrong essentially has got wrong in this race so far today, or lack thereof. And hopefully we can get this sorted quickly now, and we don't have 18 different safety cars and about 10 green laps. But well, we've already been on the air for an hour and we haven't had a race yet, so frustrating, we'll say that much. And we're actually now an hour late too.
This is a bit pathetic, isn't it? We're lucky if we're going to get going at past here.
It's yeah, And
Could probably watched all of Monaco qualifying this break. I've missed it specifically to do this. And
with all respect,
Rogowski says, "No words, just go." Yeah, go on.
All respect to the administrators, but I mean, you do have to feel that this could have been ran ever so slightly more efficiently in this particular occasion. We are back to live pictures, however, finally.
Yeah, I don't think I blame Chris. I think he's done a decent job.
He's had to step in at the last minute, so you can't blame Chris at all for this.
No, not really.
The blame probably lies a little bit with everyone, as per usual.
I think probably best that we don't add to the people being each other, because
yes,
we kind of want to see a race, so we don't really care too much who wins, just as long as there's some good action, I guess. Anyway, looks like Grid is forming up. Valente says something about forgot to feed the fish, which is like, okay, well, it's probably got time to feed him at this rate.
Might have time to buy a new one at this rate and bring him home.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, we are finally beginning, hopefully. I wanted to mention something for the Code 80s, or the turquoise yellows, as we're going to call them today. So the leaders, whoever catches to the Java at P1, should be driving at 150 kph, and the others, while catching, are allowed to close as soon as possible in the safest possible manner. Whilst if they're close to the incident, they have to slow down appropriately. The drivers with damage must use the apron and go to the pits. We'll be doing parade lap and then the formation lap at 150 kph.
So this is the parade lap now, not the formation lap. Parade lap.
And please make sure that you keep two-line file.
Two-line file. There we go. And well, you're riding on board with Chris Davis, who's got only a few cars ahead of him, 4 cars, and really fifth is probably a golden place to be starting in the Indy 500, the Indy 250, as this is, and you can probably win from fifth quite easily. You know, you're on that inside line heading down into turn 1. You can make up a fair few positions. And
yeah, certainly.
Chris Davis will be feeling like he's got a great chance here.
I think the beginning of the race is really just a matter of survival, because surely, especially with all these restarts, everyone's going to be a bit, I feel, slightly overeager once the green is stroked, and we might see a couple of bits of contact here and there. But it's exciting to finally get going. Just I fear everyone's a bit pent up and a bit angry that it's taken so long to start the race. So,
I think so too. And I have to say
that's not always the best mind to start a race in.
It's difficult to focus as well, and particularly if your race starts badly, you can get you're just frustrated, and sort of, it's almost if you can't be bothered to race now because you've waited this long. But
I think Alex Hallows and Alfie Bevan are struggling to join the back of the grid at the moment, because it's showing Bevan in the pits, coming out the pits, and I think Alex Hallows just ahead of him.
And I might as well tell the viewers what I told Ed during the break, is my outside bet for the pole position is the man that we ride on board with now.
Oh, never mind.
But not pole position either. Oh, never
Alfie's
mind.
got going.
But Final One Motorsport, I would like to tip Pascal Eggert for the race win here. I can feel a Pascal Eggert masterclass coming on, and well, you can mark my words on that one.
Yeah, so I think Alfie Bevan is directly ahead of the pack. Currently, Pignataro acting effectively as the pace car. So we'll have to see when they get going. Hopefully, by the end of this lap, they'll all be together in a chain, because Hallows is nearly caught up now as well.
And so they do round the final 2 corners now. This is where it is going to be the start of the SRL Indy 250, the 3rd running of this event. It is Pignataro on the inside, his teammate Fabien Ballet on the outside, and it is going to be Pignataro's job to get this race underway, I am sure. Wait for the call from the race director. You can see a little bit of jostling in the background there as they round the final corner now. We're waiting for the call from Chris Gitsoff. Have all the tyres been warmed up correctly? Are we going to see a big wreck into turn 1? We'll have to wait and see. Wait for the call.
Prepare for green.
There we go. And watch Ballet on the left.
And there's some crashes behind as well. And now we wait. It should be about when they get to start line.
Green flag, green flag.
So we are green running here in the SRL Indy 250, the third running of this event. And it's a good start from Fabian Ballet, actually, around the outside. He's going to try and send one on his teammates. However, down the inside, it's Carl Magnus Bore in the Monkey Esports car who's trying to make some moves. And Ballet eventually gets down to that inside line once more to try and just slipstream off of his teammate. There's some jostling for positions further back, and I don't think those two teammates are going to be particularly interested in battling each other at this stage. Further back in the order, let's see, going down into turn 3 for the first time in this race. And there's just a few people trying to make some moves. Alejandro Valente being one of them, looking to see if he can make a move on Carl Magnus Bore just ahead of him. It's all about the slipstream on an oval circuit, of course. And right now, everyone on the fixed setups is all about how you can race in these cars. And
I'll
Alejandro
tell you who's
Valente,
made a great start. Cameron Roger. He's got up to 6th already, which is really good from where he started. I think he was just outside the top 10, actually. And he's really got the jump on everyone, just ahead of Tobias Blumschein, who's similarly made a pretty solid getaway. So keep your eyes on Roger then, because in Formula Sim Racing, Cameron Roger is unfortunately the butt of a couple of jokes, as we see a bit of side-by-side action, do we, Tom?
we did. Chris Davis try to make the move on Alejandro Valente, but thought maybe at this stage in the Indy 250 it might not be best with 100 laps still to run, essentially. It might not be best to make a move so early on, and they stay line of stern for the time being. Picataro sets the fastest lap of the race, and Fabian Ballet still stays behind his teammate. Really, it's about mileage at this stage in the race, and I think that's what everyone is sort of accepting and sort of trying to...
They're trying to get the fuel to last, then, is what you're saying, Tom.
Yes, basically, they're just trying to get the laps on the board. Here we go, though. Here's a move. This is Alex Hallows we're on board with, trying to make a move for 22nd in this race. It's only the minor positions, and he goes down the inside. Is he going to have the speed? And I think he is. And just that slipstream really
very,
working
very
out.
important for Hallows to make progress then, given how much trouble he had at the start. And there we go. The CR Esports driver gets up into 21st. Can he crack the top 20? Because if he can join the back of the train, then he might just be able to save his race and get a decent result out of this.
Mazumda's in a bit of a sticky situation as Kanotskis is trying to make a move on him. And there's actually an issue up ahead, and there's a crash. And I can't quite see who that was. And there's a huge incident at the back. And who is that?
Okay, that's focus yellow in 10 seconds.
That's Arda Erkan, who, in fairness, looks like he's had his a fairly reasonable time of it.
It's one of the average of the points cards.
Focus yellow.
I'm trying to see who was involved in that incident. And, well, this man definitely was in the AJ Foyt stock.
Yeah, so Erkan
and have to give up the place.
Ooh. And Arne Markurtin is missing his front wing as well in the number 4. So he's not had a brilliant start either, down in last position. And
lap 7 of this race, we have our first safety car of
Bore
the day.
was the big loser in there, I think.
Whisper check. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. What are you on about?
Yes. You can see the wing.
He doesn't care whether we can hear him, yeah.
On the right-hand side of the
I'm seeing everyone typing a Y in chat on the circuit.
A
couple of people in the pits
open
during
for
the
the cars that have damage.
So pit lane
So
closed.
that's standard procedure then.
Pit lane closed
Bore
unless
took
it's
a
for
real-
emergency service.
Remember, Carl Magnus Bore was running 3rd, so I think what must have happened was that he dropped it and then collected Davis and Erkan.
And pit lane is over everybody now.
Okay, right. The leaders are coming around, so they'll be coming into the pits soon as well.
I wouldn't say
Surely.
they'll be pitting at this early stage in the race. I think it's very unlikely. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, but anyway, so like I said, Bore the big loser, but the man who took advantage was Valente, with Emily Callison now running 4th behind him. So Callison is actually, in my opinion, one of the better drivers, especially seeing her in action in ERC in the GD3 class. Put some impressive drives in over the years, so I think she'll be one to watch, and Valente's going to have his mirrors full with Callison and Roger right behind him, and Arisaka, let's not forget about him, and Blumshine. So the top 7, top 8 looking very competitive, and your pick, Pascal Eckert, has moved up to 9th. I didn't Pascal start 15th or something like that?
4 takers for the pits on at this early stage.
One of them, Alfie Bevan.
One of them is Alfie Bevan, and we're looking at him now. And I think that might be a little bit early for my liking.
Yeah, Smaggers Gale as well. I think both of them were running near the back anyway, because Bevan joined at the last minute, and Smaggers Gale, I think, was near the back row qualifying.
Only on lap 8.
With all due respect to James.
Only on lap 8 of the race. Of course, you have to take 2 off that for the actual lap, given the 2 formation laps.
There's someone else who's done pretty well to stay out of trouble. Pascal in 15th, who joined at the last minute after going from wherever the hell he was, has got into 15th after starting a 20. Was it 25th or 26th? Near the very, very back.
I think it was 25th because someone else joined right behind him in Alfie Bevan. Hashtag on the screen now, SRL Indy 250. If you do want to get in touch, we'll see if we can read out any comments that do get
Joe
sent
Gillette says it's sad that I only recognise 2 names in the entry list. Well, I can introduce you to all these guys while we're waiting for the safety car to come in. Joe Gosista says SRL Indy 250 Scott Dixon crash. That's what he's comparing it to.
Not too sure I understand that reference, but I imagine the.
I think he was thinking about the Bore crash.
Oh no! Anthony Nickmon has lost it onto the safety car. And old Derry's going to go into the wall as well, and that's not going to be ideal at all. And, well, he's doing donuts a bit prematurely down in 26th position in the number 1 car. Anthony Nickmon, of course, the winner of the previous event here. And,
yeah, the reigning Indy SRL 250 champion, not exactly covering himself in glory so far. And it's even got the Spanner logo up there, which shows he needs to pit, I think.
Yes, it does, and I think that will...
That's going to make this safety car even longer, which is exactly what we wanted. And thank you, Anthony.
I think as well, Anthony is going to lose the lead lap here as well. Smagazale's also into the pits. I wonder if he had an issue, unless he's just a late taker. And, well, the rest of this field snakes on through. And, well, this is becoming a bit of a frustrating affair now.
Yeah, 12 minutes into the race then. Is it time on laps that we're going by? It's definitely 100 laps, isn't it?
Yes, it's 100 laps for 250 miles.
101, sorry. We're on lap 8 out of 102 then.
Yes, but it's technically 100 laps because we have 2 formation laps. But
oh, that's true.
We're
on lap 6 then.
For ease, we'll refer to this as lap 9 and just take it as a 102 lap race.
Okay.
Purely to avoid mental gymnastics.
TX3 certainly will be happy with the way it's out so far because they're still in control, at least on track anyway.
Oh,
do you think at some point
he sped in the pit lane, and now Anthony Nickmon has a stop and go penalty?
Oh, brilliant! It just gets better and better, isn't it? I'll be amazed if Antoni can still get himself back onto the lead lap here and in a position to retain his Indy crown, but it's looking pretty unlikely now so far.
He is on the lead lap, which will be encouraging for him.
It looks almost like he's trying to build enough of a gap so he can do the stop go and keep on the lead lap here.
As he shouldn't be able to serve the stop go under safety car. And
of course, yeah.
If he does, it will be mightily frustrating because it will mean the safety car is out for even longer. And I don't think we want that.
No, it looks like he's staying out then.
Yes.
Okay, we're going green this lap.
Okay, so Antoni's got to
driver
really
at
catch up
P1
quickly.
is calling the pace.
So
Still
Pignataro,
26 drivers in the race then.
Pignataro is going to be in charge of the restart. And let's have a look to see if he can do it as effectively as he did the race start. They head around turn 3 and turn 4 now.
Yeah, watch for Valente in third because he's going to be quite punchy on ballet at this restart, I think.
Emily Callison in a lofty 4th for Team Iris after starting outside the top 10. Really hoping that she
was only just outside the top 10 though.
Yes,
So it
and
wasn't like
well, he is going. Pignataro goes, and now Fabian Ballet. I don't think he'll be challenging his teammate down into turn 1, but they've pulled the walls over the eyes of Alejandro Valente a little bit here, who can't really do anything to counter that as they head down into what's the lap? It's lap 11 of this race, so a very lengthy safety car. And Alejandro Valente,
green flag being called there.
Alejandro Valente all of a sudden is trying to make a move on Fabian Ballet, who's got the slipstream on his teammates. And, well, they're really working together quite well. And Alejandro Valente can't quite squeeze through in the end.
That's the problem. He pulled out left a bit too early there, didn't he?
He did, and he just didn't quite have the speed heading through the corner. Remember, it is completely equal setups, so no one has a top speed advantage on anyone else, theoretically, unless there's a bit of shadow damage that is going to cause some issues. Alejandro Valente down the inside now on Fabian Ballet, and Ballet has to give him the room, and now Alejandro Valente has upset the ante a little bit, and can now start to challenge for the lead on Pignataro, who doesn't have his teammate as a nice cushion. Here we go then, in the slipstream, Alejandro Valente is going to run as fast as he physically can, and he's going to switch to the outside, maybe to try and make a move, and I don't think it's going to work. He's going to be a fish out of water a little bit, and Ballet now can come back at him down the inside. It's not quite going to be, and only Callison there, just in the background, trying to make of this what she can, and Fabian Ballet is all of a sudden under a little bit of pressure to get back alongside his teammates. Alejandro Valente is under a lot of pressure to keep ahead of Fabian Ballet, who now looks to the inside to try and make the move. 90 laps to go in the SRL Indy 250. And Fabian Ballet is still in third.
They were the top four were starting to make a break for it, and now Roger, Blumschein, and Eggert are starting to close in. So we're getting quite a pack here, aren't we, Tom?
We are, and we stay in green running for the moment. So Fabian Ballet does look to the inside for the move. It's going to be 3 wide as Alejandro Valente looks to the inside for the move on the lead of the race as well. And it's a question of whether he can get the slipstream and the overspeed through the corners. And there was a yellow flag in sector 1 for a moment there. I think Mark Tukan had an issue, and he certainly has.
Yeah,
Look,
it looks
he's
like Valente's
crawling back to the
setting up
pits.
for turn 1, Tom.
He is down the inside then, Alejandro Valente for the lead of the race, and he's through the English-born driver racing under the Barbados flag with an Italian-sounding name is in the lead of this race. And
I never knew that about Alessandro. Drives for me in touring cars. There you go. Learn something new every day. But there you go. Valente leads and takes through second and third. And now Emily Callison is giving the two of them quite some consternation.
But Callison gets onto the high marbles, and Tobias Blumschein is through into 4th position in the end. And now they're trying to face ahead. The two teammates are still right next to each other, and perhaps trying to make a little bit of a tandem attack on Valente down into turn 1, and they're going to get this absolutely easily as Callison also tries to switch. In fact, it's Blumschein trying to get through in the end. Alejandro Valente still tries to stick one out around the outside, and well, they're just going to have to run in a single file formation for a minute.
Well.
Someone did come out of the pits.
That was retired.
Oh, Nick Bond out of the race then, and we maintain at green running for the time being, and the battle for the lead is as close as ever here in the Indy 250. Who's that in the back? That's Pascal Eggert. I said he was in with a chance of winning this race, and he's already up into 5th position, and he made the move on Mauricio.
Yeah, that bright orange car. It's very distinctive, isn't it?
Who's going to make a move down the inside? This is Cameron Roger, and not quite able to get ahead, and stays in 7th position for the time being. Someone else is coming out of the pits, and I believe that's one of the drivers that had a bit of an issue further down the order. I think it might actually be Markson, who's lost his front wing again. He's having an absolutely terrible time, and Achille Cole is actually DNF'd out of the race. He is out of the race at this stage. Alejandro Valente goes down the inside of Fabio Ballet, and he's going to get the move on pure speed alone. Then Tobias Blumschein's down the inside as well. He can't quite find a way through, and well, he has to settle for 4th position. But look at the speed he's got on Valente and Ballet actually. Down the inside into turn 1. He's going to try and just get the speed through the corner. He's left the room, and now he's got the slipstream to boot as well. A little bit squirrely for Tobias Blumschein in the end, and he has to back out of it. And it's still Pignataro. Sorry, apologise. Pignataro from Valente. Yes, Roberto Pignataro from Valente, from Blumschein now, who's actually made the move on Fabian Ballet, and Ballet down into 4th position. And this is quite spectacular racing at this stage in the Indy 250. We should be starting to see the pit stops start to play a factor rather soon. And
Yeah, but we have had all that safety car running, so we'll be able to go a little bit longer than they would have otherwise. As Carson drops to 10th now behind Lopez. But yeah, Ballet, it's not really gone to plan for him so far as the rear gunner for Pignataro. And Valente and Blumshine are starting to really fight each other now, though. So that could potentially allow Pignataro to sprint away in this phase.
And Ballet is just losing touch with the pack a bit. And Eggert and Arisaka are trying to force some moves on him as well. Eggert's actually looking pretty keen to just keep running with Arisaka ahead of him. And Alejandro Valente goes and makes the move for the lead as well. And Tobias Blumshine thought he could make a move for second to boot too, but not to be in the end.
Yeah,
and now,
second time Valente's relieved Pignataro of the lead then. Oh, sorry.
Here we go then. Tobias Blumshine is using a lot of force feedback and goes through for the lead of the race. 3 wide. Oh, there's a crash. And Pignataro is into the wall and into the catch fencing. And Tobias Blumshine does inherit the lead, but surely that is going to be a safety car. And where is Pignataro? He's falling down the order, and he's managed to... he's the only person with the... in the incident, and still yet
he
to
got
hear.
side by side with Valente, and he was on the outside, so it was always going to end badly for Pignataro there. I'm not sure quite who was at fault there, but it looked just like one of those incidents. Pignataro's got going again with the damaged suspension and missing front wing, but he's down in 22nd now, just ahead of Ben, who's a lap down, I think. So certainly all gone wrong for TX3 then. It's all down to Ballet in the 38 then. As here we go, the lead is changing hands again.
It does change hands, and Valente is in the lead of the race. Tobias Blumshine drops down to 3rd, and I think they might actually have a bit of top speed damage from that incident. Ballet doesn't, and Ballet sails through into the lead. More yellow flags in Sector 1. I think that Jorge Lopez has had an issue, and he's back going again now, I believe. Let's have a look. He's got a bit of suspension damage, I think, and perhaps no front wing. We're waiting to see a shot at the front of the car, and no, I think it was just a spin or something for him. Ballet now is under pressure from Tobias Blumshine once again, who's going to switch to around the outside down into turn 1. It's going to be difficult to make the move on the marbles. Tobias Blumshine's going to try it regardless, and he does get the move. That was quite brave from Blumshine, and now Alejandro Valente tries to have his hand at Fabian Ballet, and in the end can't quite do it. Pignataro gets a penalty to add to his woes for speeding in the pit lane, and Ballet is back at Tobias Blumshine down the inside into turn 3 now. Is he going to be able to make the move? And yes, he is, quite emphatically once more. And well, the lead is changing hands. It's a pendulum, and it's swinging back and forth constantly.
Yeah, Arisaka just hanging back a little bit, just seeing what is out in front of them, but they're very much part of this pack now. It's becoming a 5-horse race, really, with Wasserman and the other TX3 just holding on to 6th from Roger at the moment.
Blumshine is back through into the lead of the race, and Eggert just behind gets up into 4th for his troubles as well. And he's actually DNF'd. He disconnected from the game, Pascal Eggert.
Oh no, we're just talking about how well he was doing.
And if that's not the commentator's curse, I don't know what is. But Ballet is going to perhaps just run in a tandem for a little bit here, and not maybe too interested in making moves on Tobias Blumshine, who he's going to let lead the race for a little bit. So we're definitely going to have a new winner now, with Anthony Nickbon out the race and Carlos Martin not racing. So it's all about who that is going to be, and you'd be hard pressed to maybe look past Fabian Ballet with 80 laps remaining, as Ballet clearly has a great deal of pace, but he's being held off by Tobias Blumshine at the moment. And I think really the race is starting to calm down as people realise they've still got fuel and stuff to worry about.
Yeah, we'll have to see if there's any post-race investigation on the Valente Pignataro incident, but I hope they both get through unblamed. I mean, Taro's already got that speeding in the pit lane penalty, which he's serving at the moment, I think, down in 21st position. Although it'll be 23rd now, I think. But yeah, especially with Pascal out. But yeah, certain.
I apologise. Wasserman had a run at Arisaka for a moment, but the slipstream just got the better of him in the end, and Fabian Ballet is now under pressure from Alejandro Valente, who has a look at a move down the inside. Not going to be in the end. Tobias Blumshine is very squirrely. He touched the grass, and that's going to do a lot of harm for his momentum as he heads down into turn 3. Fabian Ballet should be able to make this move And, well, it's absolutely a schoolboy error from Tobias Blumschein into the grass, leading the race. And he has to concede the lead in the end, but he's not going to go down without a fight. He tries to stick a nose down into turn 4. That's very aggressive. And look at the amount of counter steering he's having to put in as he tries desperately to get ahead of Fabian Ballet. Look at the top speed of Tobias Blumschein down into turn 1. It's 3 wide with Alejandro Valente down the inside. Is he going to get the both of them? And yes, he is. Up into the lead of the race, Alejandro Valente, and Fabian Ballet still trying to stick it around the outside to Arasaka. Also tries to get involved in the lead battle, but isn't really there in the end.
Excellent opportunism by Alessandro
course
Valente
yellow.
there. Oh, it's been some kind of incident.
In 10 seconds.
We do have a full course yellow
I
line.
believe the 20. There's the 21.
4,
Pignataro
3,
looks like he's stuck on track.
2, 1.
No,
Full course yellow.
Pignataro's into the pits, and I think it has.
He's got another penalty by the looks of things.
Yeah, that'll be for speeding in the pit lane. But Alejandro Valente is going to lead the race and is going to pit once the pits open. I think they're going to open now, actually. I don't think he's closed them. And in fact, everyone's going to stream into the pits, I believe. And almost everyone. There's someone continuing on. Of course, there were some early takers under the first safety car. But now, look at this. It's a very busy pit lane. Oh, someone stopped on the pit lane. Oh, there's an incident. Who was that that's made an absolute mess of things?
I think it was Mazumda. It's Ryan Mazumda who's spun at the pit lane entry, and everyone's having to go around the outside of him. He's going to get facing back the right way again. But big error there from Mazumda.
Well,
and he drops out of the top 10.
He's had some very famous moments, Ryan Mazumda, crashing on the pit straight at Spa, all on his own, because he was closing his window because of a thunderstorm. That was in this league a couple of years ago. And
it's not the first time we've seen him mess up the start at Indianapolis either. I remember when we did the road course test race. I think Ryan had a bit of an adventure there where he just either didn't get going or he hit the back of someone on like literally at the start of the race. But here we go. Project Racer Mazumda Motorsports. They get the car serviced, and Ryan gets it back on the track, down in 17th position. So lost a few places, but still in the race, Ryan Mazumda.
Lahoven does eventually come into the pits, and Joe Gordsaitis actually corrected me. Alejandro Valente is racing under the Bahamas flag, not Barbados. And
there we go.
But I was close enough. They both got BA in their name.
Joe says he is also an Italian-British man. So
yes.
His name is Italian sounding for a reason then, because he is dual nationality.
With triple nationality, actually. So,
yeah.
I wish I had a triple nationality.
Well, he's certainly got the moves on track. So it doesn't really matter what nationality he is, as long as he bombs well.
Lap cars are allowed to regain their position to unlap themselves on the outside.
Erkan, actually, I'm not sure he got the message there as he overtakes a Baskel under the safety car. And
is that Erkan in the Frinavon? No, that must be a Lahoven.
What's going on here? Why are they racing under the safety car? Is Schunemann...
Oh, it's Schunemann, yeah.
That was in... you slow down to 150.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is a bit odd. Not sure why Schumann is overtaking a Baskel there. Which is the lead on track in terms of times, but these guys didn't pit, so...
he is going to pit this lap at Baskel, though, according to the screen. It's got that little span.
Oh, and someone going all the way around the outside of him there. That must be some of the back markers unlapping themselves.
Yes.
Everybody who is a lap behind can unlap Alfie.
Ooh. That's Alfie Bevan, who's down in 21st, and just ahead of Marcretin and Pignataro, who's of course served his penalties. All three of those guys 2 laps down.
Another note, if you're more than 1 lap behind, you can unlap yourself as long as you need. So if you're 2 laps behind, you can unlap yourself 2 times, but obviously not overtaking when you're on the same lap.
I do apologise for not putting up the safety car banner on the stream. I've got so many things to...
I do feel like Peter Schumann didn't really understand that he can't overtake people for position on the safety car, because it felt definitely like him and a Baskel fighting, going side by side for a second there.
And let's have a quick look at the number of stops that everyone has done. And Schumann has actually stopped once now. Baskel is the only driver not to come into the pits as of yet. Davis.
Yeah, I think Bevan and Marcretin are the only ones who picked 3 times. Everyone else has done once, twice, or in the case of a Baskel, 0 times, as you say.
And so obviously, I believe actually that Arda Erkan leads this race on well, leads this race actually on pit stops, unless Shinneman.
Yeah, I think Abascal's the only one that's really out of sequence because Schumann and Erkan must have pit before the safety car, or during the first safety car rather.
But if they pit during the first safety car, they'd be off sequence. If they pit a couple of laps before this safety car, then they would be.
Yeah, but certainly before
okay.
the current one. Yeah, it's a bit hard to keep track of.
Remember, the way this works in Indianapolis is everyone's caught up basically by the time you get to a chance of having a free pit stop. So if you've pit before, you basically gain time. There's not really a concept of a free pit stop on people who pit before the safety car. But the lap cars continue to wriggle their way through, and well, lap 30 of the race it will be on the next lap 29 at the moment, and already a quarter of the way through.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because Ballet sort of jumped Valente in the pits as well. So if these guys can filter past Erkan, Abascal, and Schumann, as it looks like Abascal's heading for the... Nope. They're all staying out.
And, well, at this rate, we might just get to lap 100 by Christmas, but...
Yeah, Mark Critton gets another penalty. That's not going to help him get back to the lead lap. Because he can't serve it under safety car, though, thankfully.
Please, everybody up to P19, please let the guys behind you overtake you. Thank you.
As we...
Sounds like Kurskitsov is struggling as much as we are to sort out this race order.
Yes, I don't think we can quite figure it out here at the commentary box. And, I don't think the drivers down there can figure it out either. They must have a rather remarkable crew chief. But
yeah, these top three are certainly the outliers, and it's certainly going to be interesting to see if they can stay there, or if they can make this sort of alternate strategy work for them.
Joe Gordstitis says Alfred Bevan dominating last place. Technically speaking, he's not in last place, as there's a few people behind him. And
yeah, Pignatara and McCretton.
Pascal Leggett hasn't been able to rejoin the game, so I suspect he's actually had a full-on internet crash.
Yeah, that's a big shame because Pascal was running right behind the top three, wasn't he? When that happened.
And well, that's
he
why
just got by it.
That's why being tipped for the race win by Tom Dillon is always a curse.
And Edward Hunter.
But his teammate leads the race, so Fina Vond will be encouraged by that one.
Mind you, I tipped Callison to finish on the podium, and she's still going down in ninth, so at least at the moment.
And actually advertising ERC Formula E on the side pod.
Indeed, yeah, which we... Unfortunately, another thing that got affected by massive server issues, because we did the London finale the same day as the BR Factor update, I think.
Oh, yes.
And basically, the race ended up being a disaster, and we just couldn't run it because everyone got horribly disconnected.
Okay,
Who won that championship at the end, by the way?
It was shared. In the end, they agreed not to rerun
leader
it.
can decide whenever he wants, or they want to start between the pit entry line and the start finish line, and then I'll call green.
So Hamilton and Sunnyvale shared it then, I imagine.
Yeah, they did. And I even got them all both Lego cars, including a Frinavond one for Nick Conewood and Pascal Leggett, who were third and fourth. As McCretton is just catching up to the back of the pack, and it looks like Schumann is about to restart, Tom.
Yep, so it is going to be Peter Schumann in the lead of this
Is he going to
race.
go early, or is he going to go at the last minute and try and catch a Bascal out here? Because Bascal's not really a big threat because he's so out of sequence in terms of pit stops.
And we'll be on older tyres as well. And I wonder...
Green flag.
So green flag is called, and Schumann can go whenever he wants to. And there's a jump start from Alejandro Valente. You're not allowed to do that. Oh, loads of people getting it wrong. Cameron Roger gets it wrong as well. And what a disastrous restart for Peter Schunnemann, and I'm not too sure that's going to stand on Alejandro Valente's part. Surely that's going to be a penalty, as he overtook well before
Roger
the pit.
might be in trouble as well.
Well before the line, and I think Cameron Roger is going to be in trouble as well. However, Tobias Blumschein is now in third, and I think he got it wrong as well. That was a terrible, terrible restart. Drivers just need to read the rules, for crying out loud. And Tobias Blumschein now is in a pretty good position to try and make a move on.
I don't think Tobias overtook before the line. I think Tobias is pretty good with the rules, or he's very good at negotiating afterwards, and now he's got Roger right in front of him. Look at the camber of those tyres as well on the burst car. It's a very inward kind of camber, and as Roger goes really, really wide at the final corner.
And Valente now very, very slow, and Tobias Blumschein is going to fancy his chances down the inside. He's not quite going to be able to make it in the end, and oh, there's a huge, huge slide at the back for, I think that was Arasaka, actually. And look at Alex Hallows all of a sudden up into 5th position. And he's going to try and make it move forwards as well. Into 4th.
Roger going all over the road.
Into 4th on the number 72. Alex Hallows is going to have the speed into the corner. Is he going to be able to make the move? And I think he might just have not got the speed. And now Fabian Ballet tries to go around the outside. It's not quite going to be for him in the end. And, well, Alex Hallows maintains a very lofty 5th position after starting right at the back of this grid.
Yeah, indeed. So Hallows making progress then, because he has of course got that pit stop out of the way. So it's really only a Pascal who's dropped all the way down to 10th, who's yet to pit. But yeah, Tobias Blumschein retake after that error we saw him getting on the grass earlier. He's certainly cleared the restart, which is just a matter of whether him and Valente have done it within the rules or not. Roger as well, I think. But going to be interesting. I think Hallows is really just fighting to hold on from Arasaka as Chris Davis making progress. He's passed Ballet as well. So it's really turned into a bit of a nightmare for TX3, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely a nightmare. And Fabian Ballet really looked like he had the pace to win this race. However, Alejandro Valente and Tobias Blumschein have been two staples of this race so far. Though Alejandro Valente almost certainly has a post-race penalty coming his way. And, well, I'd be shocked and disappointed if he didn't after that restart. Unless I'm missing something in the rules. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to overtake at that position. Like Alex Hallows is into 4th
Roger
position.
Did it first, and then Valente followed him.
Alex Hallows is trying to get up into 3rd position on Cameron Roger down the inside. And he's going to get the move absolutely signed, sealed and delivered into that corner. And I was about to say that left-hander, then I realised we're at Indianapolis. They're all left-handers. And even the straights might as well be left-handers, with Cameron Roger now having to pick up the pieces. And they've just about lost slipstream to the cars ahead with a 1.6 second gap to the leader for Alex Hallows. And that means that essentially we're going to start to see two little gaggles of cars forming. And Tobias Blumschein and Alejandro Valente are suddenly in a little bit of a league of their own.
Yeah, all the three Irish cars behind him of Davis, Arasaka and Callison have just been fighting each other. That's really allowed them to pull away. But Tobias and Valente still right with each other for the lead. And Tobias once again tried to break the toe. Not successfully because Valente sticks with him, but not close enough to make a move into turn 3. And very wise he is too not to try it there.
Tobias Blumschein still tries to defend from the lead of the race. There's yellow flags further back, and I'm not too sure what they're for. Is this going to be yet another safety car? And I don't think there is.
Is someone down in 22nd has stopped at the final corner? That's Lahoven.
And, well, he's into the pits now.
He's got going again.
Well, they press on in this race. Lap 37 of 102. And a capacity crowd in the virtual sense. And it will be a capacity crowd tomorrow.
It's certainly more than the 5 watching the stream at the moment. That's for sure.
Yes, that's why we've got no viewers, because everyone's watching in game. But Tobias Blumschein
participating, I think,
yes.
More likely.
Tobias Blumschein is still leading this race, and Alejandro Valente can't quite find a way through, and I'm not too sure he wants to. As actually, I apologise, the overlay's doing a funny business again, and I'll just give that a quick refresh for your viewing pleasure.
Yeah, looks like Davis is really starting to close onto the back of Roger now. So the Irish cars have sorted themselves out and decided Davis is going to lead the pack then. Arasaka's dropped back behind Ballet then. This is getting very interesting indeed. What can the burst driver of Cameron Roger do to keep Chris Davis behind him? Answer, well, a lot at the moment, because Davis cannot find a way through. And we'll have to pick his moment here as Callison watches a teammate up ahead of it.
Alex Hallows defending 3rd position. And
Cameron
Roger
going
tries
right
to go
towards the
around
pit wall.
Cameron Roger tries to go around the outside. but it wasn't going to be in the end. And now actually he's falling back a little bit with Chris Davis just behind him, trying to
Okay,
force the
code
issue.
18, 10 seconds.
And another code 80.
Full course yellow in 10 seconds.
Full course yellow, not a code 80.
Um,
That was force of habit, I think.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh,
1,
here's the
full
incident.
course yellow.
It's
The leader has to go 150.
it was
There was a Baskel in trouble again with looks like Kanakowicz.
Kanakowicz. There we go.
Kanonowicz.
Kanonowicz. That's a very difficult name to pronounce.
Kanonowicz.
It's, we're back to safety car running once again, and that was actually a very short period of green running in all actuality. Tobias Blumschein is in a very, very good chance of winning this race, and I don't think we can.
Well, I didn't keep
that.
Valente behind, yeah, and it depends, yeah, if Valente, Roger, and Blumschein are going to be free of any jumping the restart penalties, which might be decided afterwards, as Schumann, Erkan, Pignatar, and Smagersgel are serviced in the pit lane.
And, well, what a win it would be for Tobias Blumschein after all of the setbacks
It would be.
he's
You
had.
can tell this means a lot to him as well, because he's been so involved with like the organisation of this. He was even like talking to me last night about like trying to get all the streams set up and everything. And it's clear that Tobias, this is a big event for Tobias, and it would mean a lot for him to win it. But he's still got quite a way to go. We're only a 39. We're on lap 40 then of 102. Pignatar picks up a third penalty for speeding in the pit lane, I think.
Carol, you can go out. I indicated you.
And all of the setbacks Tobias has had, that ERC Formula E race where he won but then got hit harshly with penalties.
Tobias,
He doesn't want to be reminded of it. Oh, he's going too
have to
quickly.
go 150, not 200.
So having to be told off for going too quickly there. Typical for Tobias Blumschein, really. But yeah, and of course he had that breakthrough win in ERC. It's the first R-Factor 2 race he'd ever won at Interlagos in the 8 hours for Iris. And you can tell he's really, really popular in the Iris team as well, because in that race there was a big thing about whether the Iris cars had jumped the start when they were all released. And he was like arguing against it. In the end, the 77 did get a penalty, but they were so far ahead, thanks mainly in part to Tobias and Sven Gilhead, that they were able to win that round anyway. And the 77 has a great chance of winning the Drivers' Championship now, and it's well in the fight with Valet, number 33. They're only about 5, 6, or 7 points behind them.
And it hurts me to recognise that Iris is in the wrong shade of purple. And, it's very frustrating. I always likened Iris to the purple Ferrari in league racing.
Yeah, there's certainly themselves to be a force to be reckoned with. Of course, formerly they were known as Giovanna Iris Automation, and they just shortened it to Iris, Team Iris.
I think that was a sponsorship deal actually, because
it was right.
They've always been fancy. They've always been Team Iris, at least in the leagues that I commentated on. The predecessor to SRL, the Virtual Open Wheel Series, they were a force to be reckoned with there, with the likes of there was a bloke called Dimitri Giannopoulos who won the championship on a keyboard in an Iris, and well, he became somewhat of a legend for the Greek Team Iris, and well, it was I remember we ran a mod track of the Greek Tracks series, and the guy who made it had put Team Iris banners all around the track, and it was well, let's just say
it's like ballet coming into the pits now.
Yep.
So,
and it was it looked like a very partisan crowd, we'll put it that way. And well, it was always good to see Iris fighting at the front, and
yeah, and they're always so supportive to all their teams. There's never a kind of, oh, we'll just enter this series for fun. It's always like everyone that enters with the Iris banner has the full support of the team behind them, and it's always great to hear them. So there's a debris on the side of the track there. It looked like one of the TX3 cars actually. It was bright
Ballet's
green.
got a
Look.
penalty.
Well, that explains his trip to the pits then, or is that?
No, that was a penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Okay. It seems the TX3 drivers can't hit the limiter early enough, can they?
And to be fair, it's a very difficult thing to do. I was running some
is.
laps during the week, and the brakes just essentially don't work on these oval setups.
Yeah, I think Adam Maguire, the Irish driver in Formula Sim Racing Indy 300, did exactly the same thing while leading.
Alessandro, I'm going to say to everybody, the last green flag, the driver has to start, like to accelerate between the pit entry and the start finish line, and whenever the driver accelerates, I'm calling green according to that.
Interesting that Carl Magnus Bay is still in the race, back on the lead lap now as well, because we did see Bore hit trouble earlier. I thought he'd retired, but he's got in the race, and he's now back on the lead lap, but about half a lap, 30 seconds behind the lead pack, and trying to catch back up at the moment.
If I was Kuzgistov now with 60 laps to go in the race, I would say, right, on this safety car, Valente has to drop back, as well as Roger, as they were the two main.
Felt like he was being quite lenient there, because
yes.
It certainly seems like they're all shooting forced a bit more firmly, but I guess if they didn't know, they didn't know.
Yes, but I'd say that's your responsibility to know. So I'd say, right, you two can drop to the back of the field as you're the two main benefactors from that. And
I don't know if the rules are different for Cam Roger in FSR, but certainly Valente's got no excuse.
Also, for the entry, the pit entry line boxes are taken out, so be careful when you go to the pits, because it will give you a drive-through penalty.
So that's what's happening to the TX3 drivers.
Yes, but
because
the line
they can't
is still...
see the...
I don't think that's a very good
there
excuse.
Must be... Well, I think there's also a little line that has the speed limit on it, and I think Mazunda must have taken that out earlier during the previous safety car.
It's a fairly huge line, and I mean, I haven't driven this...
These drivers haven't got the best memories of the...
I haven't driven this track a lot, and even I know the pit speed here is about 56 miles per hour, so...
Sometimes it doesn't hurt to be reminded of that in big bold letters, and Ryan Mazunda's taken away that. There you go, look at that entry. Where do you stop, Tom?
That second line, it's quite simple. That second line is the pit entry line.
Oh, but it's a heat haze. You can't see the same in the cockpit with the big aero screen in front of you.
Yes, you can.
Okay, go one line. We are going green this lap.
Ooh, here we go then. So, Blumschein will dictate the pace and get us going again, won't he, Tom?
Yep, and, well, in that Iris car that's too black for my liking, it should be purple Iris cars, and that's not the right shade.
Well, the halo's pink. It's a sort of accent colour for Iris. They're sort of doing like Mercedes when they used that black livery for a couple of seasons. It's sort of Tobias and Iris's version of that, I guess.
I was sad to see the back of that black livery. Actually, it was so nice.
Well, at least they still get to wear the black. Oh no, they don't, do they? The race suits.
I thought they did, but anyway,
they do. No, it's the Mercedes Formula E team that uses white race suits. Anyway, it really doesn't matter because Mercedes are leaving Formula E in a minute anyway. And Cameron Roger weaving quite a lot in front of the Iris of Avis and Callison.
Valente is going to have it all on his plate, trying to get back at Tobias Blumschein, but they do round sector.
Well, he's been warned now, so he can't do his little trick from last time. Neither can Roger behind him.
Let's ride on board with Valente for the restart then, as Tobias is in total control of the field now, and he's slowing them down quite dramatically here. What is Tobias Blumschein going to do? When is he going to put the power down? This is probably the most important restart of his life as we come up to half distance in the Indy 250. Tobias Blumschein is going to go to green flag whenever he pleases now. And he does go in the end, and we're back to green running here in the Indy 250, and there's a bit of a skirmish at the back, and Valente not quite able to get past Tobias Blumschein into turn one immediately. Further back, Cameron Roger is coming under a bit of pressure from Chris Davis, who is perhaps just a little bit too far behind him, and well, the two of Tobias Blumschein and Valente were on a little bit of a league of their own before that safety car, but now the pack is bunched right back up, and Cameron Roger actually is starting to have a look at Alejandro Valente to see if he can try and make a move into second position. He's got the slipstream on him, and he's going to go around the outside, and Valente is just going to have the extra speed through there.
Yeah, there we go. So Valente holds on. Someone who's done really well out of this is Alfie Bevan. He's in the 23. He's got back up to 8th position, and he's just got back in front of Wasserman. I think it was him we saw getting the restart slightly wrong and almost hitting the wall, and he just about survived there. So dramatic stuff for Alfie Bevan. Of course, he's got his big supporters in chat, but he's very far from last, as Joe said earlier. He's actually in the top 7 now. And Wasserman is really dropping down in number 11 TX3, so it continues to go wrong for the black and green cars. They're looking more black and blue at this point.
And, well, they continue on. The skirmishes continue, and now it's going to be Cameron Roger under pressure from Chris Davis around the outside, and Chris Davis is going to get the move, and that was very brave, and that was very calculated from Chris Davis. Cameron Roger is going to try and have a bit of a counter-attack here, and it's not quite going to work for him. Chris Davis is up into third position in this race, and now all of a sudden can start to look at the top two, who are pulling a little bit of a gap on them at this stage. These two have been absolutely exceptional today, Blumshine and Valente. And as we approach half distance, it looks like Tobias Blumshine is a little bit in control of this one. Valente can't quite get past him in the Monkey Esports car. And who is Tobias Blumshine driving for today? It's Team Iris, of course, isn't it?
Yes, of course. So Iris starting to take control now because Blumshine, Davis, Callison all in the top 5. Arisaka not far behind either. And they're all going to start taking control. If they can get in front of Valente, they might really control the pace and then fight each other at the end. But certainly Valente will not be easy to overcome for Chris Davis.
Okay, full potion.
And we
Oh,
go back
there
to
we go.
seconds.
As day follows night.
And,
So who's it this time?
5,
Looks like the
Oh,
guy
it's
in-
Slarhoven
3,
on his...
2.
He's in a Colton
1,
Herter
full
as
caution.
Slarhoven.
Yeah, looks like Kanaka waits. Oh, Lahoven very much facing the wrong way up.
That's down at turn 4.
Oh, there we go. He's got it rolled up the right way again, at least.
And,
Quasi directing going on.
yes, I just thought I'd have a bit of a pan round to see where we actually were on track. Blumshine is going to offer.
Look like
pit.
Lahoven might have been involved in that as well because he was a bit further back down the road.
Well, he was on his roof, so yes, I imagine Lahoven was involved in that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think I misspoke there. We
Yes,
still
no,
got
no,
Ballet
no.
after his penalty down in
Yes.
21st. I think it's Lestola and a Baskel who sort of bring up the rear now.
And so we're approaching half distance here in the SRL Indy 250, and Lestola has got a penalty.
I'm probably only going to be able to do the next 20 minutes, unfortunately, because there's probably going to be about half past.
That's fine. Don't you worry. I can take it solo. If
I'll
need
get
be.
back as soon as I can.
As I said, 3 hours of solo Rocket League commentary yesterday has set me up nicely.
Here they go. Leaders in the pits then.
Yep.
Or
And,
erstwhile leaders, because now Roger takes the lead.
These are
Quite
really
refreshing, actually. Because usually I'm used to seeing Cameron Roger near the back or crashing into things. It's great to see a very strong performance from him here against the top SRL guys. And great to have all these guest drivers as well, because we wouldn't normally see them in the SRL field.
And, well, it's interesting now to see what happens with the pit strategy. As you can see, pit stops, most of the drivers are opting to pit. Cameron Rogers, of course, stays out on the first stop. And it appears that it is going to be about every 25 laps that they opt to come into the pit. So I think we're right on the pit window. Essentially, Cameron Roger is he's requested a pit stop. So whether that means he's going to come in this lap or not. And I wonder if his pit box was occupied, actually. That could be a reason why he didn't.
Interesting little fact as well. Lopez in second has got the fastest lap of the race, 40.540. There's another penalty for Lestola, no doubt for a pit entry violation. Wouldn't be the first in this race. Probably won't be the last either. But have a look at Blumshine and Valente. Looks like Blumshine has just got out ahead of him. So Blumshine maintains the lead with his close rival. Who's probably going to be the net lead of the race once all of this filters out, but it depends very much what Roger and company do. Meanwhile, Pinataro, after all of his issues being put into the catch fencing, he's now back up to 5th somehow.
So, real game of chess in oval racing.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody coming in apart from some of the tail enders. Looks like Lestola coming in again, of course, and Ballet as well.
Lap 50 of the race. We're officially at half distance of the 100, though technically speaking, lap 52 will be half distance, but we'll just say half distance anyway. For the ease.
It will be half distance in a moment, that's for sure. Sorry, Tom, didn't mean to.
With Blumshine leading the majority of that first half, he'll be hoping that he can keep it up into the second. And well, if we want to keep the football analogies going as ahead of the Champions League final this evening, then I suppose Picanataro up into 5th position is well, he's 3-0 down in the Champions League final and needs an absolute
We're
miracle.
going green this lap.
Oh, there we go. So there'll be no more free pit stops then. And it's very confusing for me because I've got Valente as one of my drivers, I've got Tobias who's a co-commentator, and I've got Roger who is one of the president of Formula Sim Racing, who I also do commentary and highlights for. So triple split loyalties for me as a commentator. So that's how you know I'm not biased, because I have a little acorn in every basket, so to speak. But Roger will lead away from Lopez and Ercan at the restart then. And still the little spanner shows, which means he's probably coming in at some point, but it might not be on this restart. So we'll have to see what Lopez does behind. And will they lead away, Tom?
He goes now.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag flies, and Cameron Roger leads us away in the Indianapolis 250. Of course, a little bit of a precursor to the 500 tomorrow, and Roger gets that restart absolutely perfect. Peter Schunneman is back up into 4th position after leading the previous safety car restart, the one before the last one.
Okay, full course yellow.
And we immediately go back to full course yellow. Is what's
Looks like
happening at the back.
Boratovsky in trouble.
So let's have a look.
5, 4,
He's laughing now,
3, 2,
and he
1.
might.
Full course
Yeah,
yellow.
Boratovsky down in 19th. Yeah, he just stopped completely. And it looks like somebody in 20th has hit. It's Arisaka. Oh, dear.
Yes.
And the steering not looking good on that Iris at all. Michelle was having a pretty solid, tidy race up to that point.
And he's out.
Oh,
He's
dear.
out, Arasaka. And, well, I have to say,
Side venture. Boratovsky and Arisaka may have hit each other then.
this is getting slightly frustrating now, the amount of safety cars we have. It's like watching an IMSA race where you end up with essentially everything under safety car.
Looks like we only got 20 drivers left in the race then. I did sort of predict before we started we might have maybe 10 finishes. It looks like we're on track at the moment. Looks like we're getting set for another 10 safety cars then.
Pascal Eggert said at 1 minute past 6, which was about 15 minutes ago, my feeling went disconnecting from your own server. And I think that sums up his day quite well. And
Oh dear. Got to feel a bit for Pascal. It was looking like a pretty tidy afternoon's work up to that point. But such is sim racing.
and real racing as well. Pignataro is actually on sequence here, I think. And could actually be legitimately about to lead this race.
That could be quite the turnout, couldn't it? After being sent into the catch fencing by Valente, he's going to take revenge here. Still got Smaggersgale and a Baskel in between him. Valente did jump Blumshine at that last restart, crucially. And Bore has got himself in between Davis and Callison, despite the fact that Bore, I'm pretty sure, missed a lap or two earlier. With all the safety cars, he's been able to get himself back in the mix.
I have to say, don't we love these new cars in the SRL Indy 250? Of course, last time we were running
we do so much love them.
We were running the 2014 cars, and I have to say, I absolutely hated the aero screen when it came in, and I thought that it was maybe taking safety a little bit too far, going against the spirit of open wheel single-seater racing. But I have to say,
Indy,
slightly
especially oval racing, has unique demands, and I think the oval screen, especially after you see some of the incidents, for example, at Justin Wilson at Pocono comes to mind, really, where a small piece of debris did a horrible amount of damage to a human being, and you sort of don't want to see that happen. Of course, in sim racing, there's no real such requirement for it, but it's nice just to have it for that little bit of realism. And you can even we've even seen when we've gone on driver's eye view sort of view, they've had the option of the central pillar of the halo part of the aero screen. You can sort of disappear that, so you've got
you can make it
unfiltered vision.
You can make it translucent in the game at least, so it's not completely transparent, but you can see through it, and that's purely out of because obviously normally with I believe it's called the parallax effect on the ice, it blocks out the halo, except obviously when you're looking at a 2D screen, it is literally just a pillar in the middle of your screen, and it can actually really damage your vision. I know if you run low low FOV,
field of view.
Yes, like I do. I run on about 30, I believe, purely because in the LMP2 it gives you the best view, and that's the way my monitor's set up. If you have a halo, it can actually block about half of your screen, so you really need it off.
2 penalties there for Ryan Mazumda and Alfie Bevan. A big shame for Bevan. I think he was still just outside the top 10. But Mazumda, after that spin the pit lane, I think that penalty was well overdue, if I'm being honest. But hopefully once he can get it out of the way and have a clean end to the race.
Mazumda calls this an average Saturday of racing, to be honest. And I'm a bit harsh. I am... well, we haven't spoken recently, to be
Looks
fair.
like
I mean, right,
Callison
but-
coming in now as well. So Emily Callison's filling out, and she was running quite high up as well. So this is an interesting strategy by Iris. Then they've lost Arasaka, and now Callison is deciding to get another
And an interesting
sub out the way.
factor in terms of the
Go on.
SRL law, spanning back to the Virtual Open Wheel Series days, back on R Factor 1. Mazumda Motorsports, who Ryan Mazumda unsurprisingly drives for, actually started as a Reading Game Junior team, which is my team
nice.
ERC. And
I wonder how long till we see a Reading Game Indie Motorsports.
We're going
team.
green this lap.
Oh,
when
there we go.
hell
So
freezes over,
everyone's serviced. Yeah, well, only best of luck to Reading Game for the rest of the ERC endurance season. We've still got in.
I should be in the GT3 for the next race.
Oh, nice. In the 27. Good to see the 27 back in action. So I think we've got, what's the next race? It's going to be Road Atlanta, isn't it?
Yes, it's Petit Le Mans, and Cameron Roger is going to get us underway here in the Indy 250. Lap 54 of 102. We're well past half distance now, and Cameron Roger is going to hope to get this restart as well as he did the first one, though maybe his bluff isn't quite going to work, and he does go, and we go to green here in the Indy 250, and Pignataro immediately looking to pick up the scraps of his race, and he's up into third immediately, trying to make moves on Lopez, heading into turn one for second position as well. It's not quite going to be in the end. Smagazael apparently is into the pits. I'm going to refresh the overlay just to make sure that's not any visual glitch, and Pignataro gets a pretty decent restart in the end. Cameron Roger gets it perfect once again. He's really got some talent for restarts here, Cameron Roger. And if I was to buy Bumshine, I'd be looking at that and taking notes when I inherit the lead of the race back from these front runners. Lopez now trying to make some moves on Roger. And, well, Roger is just defending
But look at
this one
Valente.
quite
He's
well.
making progress down in sixth. He's just taken James Smagersgale. And, yeah, it was a great start by Pignataro, clearing Ercan. Arda Ercan got completely caught out in the into the points car. Lopez, here we go. We've seen the speed he's capable of throughout the race, and he's going to really challenge Roger in this stint. I need to go now because dinner's ready. But
So,
you enjoy the rest of the race as we see the action really heating up, Tom.
We'll bid farewell to Ed, and you're going to have...
hopefully I'll be back before the end.
Yes, and well, you're going to be stuck with me, I'm afraid, for the rest of this race. And Cameron Roger does lead from Jorge Lopez, although Jorge Lopez is driving and seems to be a bit of a man on a mission. He's trying to get up into first position here and just lead this race for a little bit, though maybe he has to start turning and starting to think about fuel mileage. That being said, he's going to go down the inside because the slipstream is just so overbearing, and there's a defence at the back. Peter Schunneman makes a move on Pignataro and actually pushes him out wide a little bit. Cameron Roger loses the lead of the race as well, and Arda Erkan almost got the move on Peter Schunneman as well. Pignataro is a big loser, and Pignataro is into the wall. It's a dramatic somersault, and that is surely him out the race now. Wheel lost, and that's of course a safety car, and there's a person in the back as well having some issues, and Pignataro, a dramatic accident, and he is out of the race.
1, full course yellow.
That was drama personified from Pignataro, and well, bitter disappointment from a man who had been knocked down. He's fought his way back up into the top 5 and is now out of the race. We saw him understeering at the start of that stint, and well, perhaps understeered just a little bit too much. Tobias Blumshine is back up into 6th position, and considering he's got aspirations of winning this race, he'll be looking to get back up the order as soon as possible. But well, cautions breed cautions, and after a fairly decent period of racing, we have had 3 quick safety cars in succession. Joe Titus says, I think he died, and I have to say, if that were real life, I'm afraid to say I wouldn't fancy his chances in that one. And Lopez has got a penalty now. He pits, and he's down into last position, and I imagine that's going to be where he stays. Callison has got a stop and go and a drive-through, and I find that quite impressive. But Cameron Roger somehow leads the race again. Peter Schunneman, after feeling very hard done by after that earlier safety car restart, is back up into 2nd position and fighting quite well. Alejandro Valente and Tobias Blumshine, of course, both still within a chance of this race after leading the majority of the first half, those two. Chris Davis, of course, in 5th there, sandwiched in between those two. And lap 58 now, so there's only going to be 40 laps to go once we do get this safety car period over with. Looking at Chris Davis in the Iris car. Just ahead of Tobias Blumschein in the other Iris. And you have to suggest that surely they might do a switch here and give Tobias Blumschein a bit of a run for the race lead that he seems to have deserved so far, you'd argue. So I imagine it will be this lap that we get back to green running. And we'll have to wait and see. As, I apologise for the chair. I'm trying to move around as quickly as possible. I want to invest in some WD-40. Let's get that sorted as soon as we can. That's for certain. Cameron Roger still only on the singular pit stop. Must be running on absolute fumes at this stage. I'd be surprised. In fact, let's have a look at the driver's eye, because I think we might be able to poach some of the fuel information. And I can tell you he's got 35 litres left. And, well, that's a sizable... That's half of his tank. How has he got half of his tank left? Not too sure how Cameron Rogers managed to do that. No, he hasn't. It's an arbitrary number. And, well, R Factor 2 bamboozling us once again. There's Cameron.
Okay, we're going green this lap.
There is the call. It is back to green on this lap. As you see the cars file through, and Cameron Roger has been exemplary on his restarts so far. We'll be looking for another one. He is off sequence with the pit stops, and let's just have an eye on him. Keep an eye on Peter Schunnemann as well. He's wise to Cameron Rogers' tricks now. Lap 60 of the Indianapolis 250 miles then. There's... Once again, I apologise for any background noise. My brother's playing up once more, and you've got to love that. But let's focus on this one. Cameron Roger is going to lead the field, and he gets us underway again. Lap 60, 40 laps to go in the Indianapolis 250, and Cameron Roger does get us underway. Peter Schunnemann isn't quite able to have the restarts he would have anticipated, though it's not particularly disastrous for anyone. And now Arda Erkin is just creeping into the back of the picture, trying to steal the race lead away from Roger and Schunnemann. Schunnemann in the 69 car is actually going to be under a little bit of pressure from Erkin. And we've got yellow flags in sector 1. Erkin gets through on Schunnemann, and I think he's going to get that move pretty safely. He's now around the outside. Oh dear, they're so close to each other, and you've got to be really careful there. The understeer can harm you quite dramatically. Peter Schunnemann maintains second position of this race and can now have an attack on Cameron Roger down into turn 1. Is this going to be the move? Is a Final One car going to finally lead this race under green flag conditions? And I believe, yes he is. Peter Schunnemann inherits the lead of the Indianapolis 250. And I say inherits, he got that lead on his own back. And only his own back. Alejandro Valente now trying to make a move on Arda Erkin, as Cameron Roger just ahead of you is trying to make a move back on Peter Schunnemann. And Peter Schunnemann is going to show him the outside and try and defend this one. Has Cameron Roger got the speed around the outside? No, he hasn't. There's contact at the back. Alejandro Valente does very well to avoid spinning around there, and is actually through into third position in the end. Davis and Blumschein still run further back in 5th and 6th in a bit of tangent, in a bit of a tandem for the Iris cars. Erkin trying to get back past Alejandro Valente, and down into turn 1 he's going to try it. It's not quite going to work for him in the end. Chris Davis and Tobias Blumschein, as we said, not really interested in battling each other. Davis now trying to make a move on Erkin ahead. Alejandro Valente will feel very, very happy with his progress so far on this little green flag period that we've got. Chris Davis thinks about the move. Alejandro Valente goes for the move down the inside. And in fact, there's contact. And that's going to be a pretty dramatic accident for Arda Erkin, who's up into the wall. Who's up into the wall actually at the back? I think it is Erkin, isn't it? It was.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow.
And that was what understeer can do to you. And the good news is that despite Chris Davies having a bit of an incident with the Irish team, Tobias Blumschein has got himself up into 4th position, so he's right in position to lead this race once more if he can get past Cameron Roger, who still has to pit, of course. In fact, everyone should have to pit at least once more. Joe Gorsizer says he really just ascended to heaven. I think the last ascension at this world, sort of quite as dramatic as that, was from Jesus himself back in the year, I imagine about 30 AD, to be fair. Peter Schuneman does lead the Indy 250 then, after a pretty successful green flag period, and I think what they've got to approach this race as in the various drivers, they've got to as well. My brain is not working after the last 2 days, but yes, what they've really got to approach this as now is each little green flag period is its own race, and just drive as well as you can in that particular green flag period, and then just take it as you can. And Tobias Blumschein has been driving up the field rather well, and has had a few successful green flag periods after getting a little bit unlucky with the safety car, you would say. Should be a couple more laps of this safety car. Lap 65 of 102 on this Indianapolis 250. A fine Saturday afternoon, a Saturday evening now. It's at 6 o'clock. And with Anthony Nickbot's DNF early in this race, we're destined to see a new winner of this great event. An event with a little bit of history now. It's been ran in all previous 3 years, and I suppose it's turning into a bit of an annual thing, with last year's event, of course, being won by Anthony Nickbot. Carlos Martin won in 2020. And, of course, it became really a thing as a natural lead on, a spiritual successor to the MRTI Indianapolis 250, and of course the last event was actually a combined MRTI and SRL Indy 250. This is the first one back running on its own as SRL, and we've actually got a very disappointed Pascal Eggert joining us in the commentary box in a moment, and I look forward to having him joining us. Ballet is into the pits, and I suspect that that would see another lap worth of safety car. And here is Pascal Eggert, probably out of the car, I imagine, at this stage. And, well, it does really whet your appetite, this, ahead of tomorrow and ahead of what is set to be such an entertaining Indy 500.
Green flag this lap.
So we're going back to green on this particular lap. And Joe Gorsizer said that car literally climbed up the catch fence. It did. It was like Spider-Man. Helio Castro Neves. And, except he was in the car. Peter Schuneman is going to be in charge of the restart then. And we're going to go back to green flag running. And let's hope that we can go back to green flag running for the rest of the day now. And I don't think that's going to happen in a month of Sundays, but we can hope. Maybe miracles can happen. Feel free to get in touch, whether that be via live stream chat.
User joined your channel.
And we are now joined by Pascal Eggert. Hello, Pascal. I'll
Okay.
ask you a question in a moment, purely because we're about to get back running again. Peter Schunnemann is going to get us underway here for your team, Pascal. And, well, let's see when he does opt to go. He's leaving it very, very late, is Schunnemann. And he did this in that first restart that was kind of messy. And he goes now, Peter
Green
Schunnemann, at the
flag.
very last opportunity. And he's got the jump on everyone, you would think. And now down the inside, Tobias Blumschein down into turn 1 on Cameron Roger. Is he going to be able to make the move up into second position? Tobias Blumschein into third position even. And Cameron Roger sticks it round the outside. And I think it's just going to be the president of Formula Sim Racing that gets that restart defended quite successfully. Now, Peter Schunnemann has been overtaken by Alejandro Valente. There is a little bit of a gaggle of cars as they're all Constantinoing up. And, well, not the most successful restart from your driver, Pascal.
I'm about to join to see for myself.
And we'll give him a
But yeah, I
chance.
think the practice that we did as a pack seems to be really paying off. Everyone else seems to be struggling more with the dirty head than we did.
Tobias is through into third position. And Cameron Roger just left a little bit unsighted of that. Still the one pit stop for Cameron Roger. And it's only the one so far. He's now under pressure from Carl Magnus Bore from Monkey Esports down the inside. He's going to try and make a move here. He's got the slipstream from Tobias ahead, who's doing his old mate a few favours there. Tobias Blumschein. Peter Schunnemann maintains his second position, trying to get back up into that first position that he failed to defend on the restart. All of a sudden, Tobias Blumschein is going to start to sniff a little bit of a victory here, and Alejandro Valente is a little bit slow with the other two having the slipstream, and now around the outside, Tobias is going to try and make the move. Schunnemann gets the move on Alejandro Valente, and the lead changes hands
really tight.
once again, and well, I think that's just exactly right. It is very, very tight around this circuit. There's going to be 30 laps to go after this one, 31 laps even. And now Valente back down the inside on Schunnemann. He's going to try it. And, well, he's going to get it. And it's going to be 3 wide with Tobias Blumschein at the back. He's going to try and stick a nose in. And Schunnemann just has to cover that one off. And Blumschein definitely thought about that for a moment. And he does need to just be a little bit sensible here, Tobias. There's no need to ruin his race. It's a very promising result for him so far. And, well, he's still within a very good chance of winning this one. There's a yellow flag further back, and I'm not too sure. It's Valet. Valet is out of the race. And Blumschein now down the inside on Peter Schunnemann. Is he going to make the move? The double move for the lead of this race. They're still 3 wide out of the corner. And I think Tobias Blumschein is just going to get the lead of the race. And there's contact further back. Bore now is into second position. And that was absolutely mighty.
Yeah, crazy to watch them race 4 wide now on the back straight right now, further back.
Valente up into third position. Schunnemann has fallen all the way from first down to fourth. And now Carl Magnus Bore has a chance at winning this race. Tobias Blumschein is got a 3/10 advantage on the other. And, well, if he can just break the slipstream now, Tobias should go on to win this race. However, that's very difficult to do around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And all down the inside, Alejandro Valente. No one saw that coming. You saw that from Carl Magnus Bore's perspective. And, well, it was quite lucky that he was wise to that. And obviously has a spotter. Peter Schunnemann now is under pressure from a sliding Chris Davis.
Yeah, Chris already pushed into Erkan earlier to cause a caution. See not drop back a bit now under pressure from Lopez.
And Lopez is going to try and make the move on Chris Davies. It's not quite going to work for him. And further ahead, they're battling. That's Carl Magnus Bore and Peter Schunnemann, isn't it? Alejandro Valente's up into second position. I'm not too sure when that happened. But lap 72 of 102 in this race. Now, there's not long to go now. We're well into the back end of this race. 3/4 of the way through. And, well, should be about another 20-30 minutes, barring any safety cars. Alejandro Valente now pressuring Tobias. These two have had the best pace all day long, you would say, hence why they lead the race as a 2 once more. Tobias Blumschein is having to defend a little bit from Alejandro Valente. Valente now thinks about a move down the inside, and he's going to try and think about it. 30 laps remaining is the call on the overlay.
Very tight again there. Oh, Peter's in the wall.
Peter is into the wall, and he's going to career back across the track, and he's doing very well to avoid everyone there, Peter Schunnemann. And, well, He's lost his
Four,
front wing, and
three,
that's going to be yet
2,
another safety
1.
car.
Full course yellow.
We might be in the territory where everyone now goes in for a final pit stop, actually.
As I could definitely see that, actually. I think Tobias will opt for a pit stop. That's for certain. It hasn't come up on the MFD just yet, but I think he will. I think it makes sense to. There we go. Tobias is going to opt to pit, and with 30 laps to go, by the time the safety car's over, there'll only be 25, and you can easily go 25 laps on a tank around here. And yeah, everyone does stream into the pits.
Yep. It was about to be expected, so we're gonna have a clean race to the finish now.
A sprint to the finish, and well, actually, this could be crucial because the lead could change hands purely on the people that haven't stopped. There's a few people who are staying out and choosing not to pit, actually, and I wonder why that is.
I'm pretty sure the people that stopped earlier have enough fuel to get it to the end with a few more cautions, so the ones that are stopping now are gonna have to get through them for sure.
So let's have a look at the number of stops then, as we see in position Listola 8 stops. With 2 more stops, he would have spent 10% of his race in the pit lane. Blumshine gets a stop and go penalty.
That's big. Way
That
too
is
much cheating,
huge
but
for this race, as we welcome Ed back into the commentary box. And
Well, it looks like I joined at a bad time for Tobias.
did
How many
you,
safety
ahead.
cars have we had since I left?
Only the one. Only the one.
Oh, okay.
And it might be 2 actually. I'm not too sure what lap you left, but I mean that was quick.
yeah, I
Did
think
you,
it was more too.
Did you
Alright.
did you chew any of your dinner, Ed, or did you just like gulp it down?
Well, it was a Chinese meal. I enjoyed it. I had a nice conversation with the family. Anyway, but this is big news with Tobias, who I assume was fighting with Valente for what is potentially going to be the overall lead.
He was. Yep. However,
So,
Lopez.
Valente had gotten ahead, so it's kind of not too bad from his point of view.
Pascal was
but it's
telling
certainly
us.
gonna
I
hurt.
think the people that stopped last time have enough fuel to go to the end as well now. With
Look at
1 or
Alfie
2 more
Bevan,
cautions.
7 pit stops. Listola, 8 stops.
Yeah,
And,
Carla had like 4 penalties so far, I think, for speeding. That's why it's 8.
Listolo is in a very good position to go
He
ahead and
is.
win this race. If everyone here has got the time to go to the end, got the fuel to go to the end. Mazumda is in 6th out of absolutely nowhere, and I don't think anyone expected that to happen. And, well, in the all-black...
Ryan really ripping up the form book.
Really ripping up the form book.
Yeah, Lopez, I believe, still has got that fastest lap, 45.40. So yeah, it really shows the pace that he's got at his disposal. Erkan has also set a fastest lap of 40.879, which I think is
And
right. I think it's the second fastest from the ones that I've seen, unless someone else has got near the.
that
40 and a half.
40.50, in my understanding, is actually the fastest lap time set overall.
Yeah, so
including
Lopez has
qualifying.
could seriously, if he can still make the strategy work, if he can potentially pull away from Listola, but it's still going to be quite tricky for him at this point.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna be able to pull ahead in this field, let's be real.
Yeah, especially with all the penalties that everyone keeps getting whenever they come into the stop. It seems everyone keeps getting pegged back, don't they? It's a little bit like a handicap race at this pace.
So Tobias has got a, well, a
There he is.
big
Well, he
job.
served the penalty.
A
But
big
it's
job.
not impossible for him. He's still got, what, let's see, 25 laps or so?
Last to first in 25 laps is no mean feat.
We have, yeah, probably by the end of the caution we're gonna have 25 laps left, yep.
Yeah, he does. He's set a 40.982 in this race as his best lap. So certainly he's not far off the top times. But you've got to think it's going to be between now Valente and Listola and maybe someone like Erkan or Muzumda Kanakowicz.
Valente gets a penalty as well.
Oh,
It's going
there
to
we
be a
go.
drive-through and a stop-go for Valente. So his race is all but over.
Well, that's going to put him definitely behind Blumshine then. So one less that Tobias has to worry about. But that's a big shame for Alessandro because he was having a great race up to that point.
And, well, Tobias and Alejandro look like the 2 favourites to go on and win this event. And, well,
Well, it's wide open now.
yeah, it's wide open.
You sure you don't want to try and get back in then, Pascal? Only a couple of laps there. It's like-
Yeah, I was so annoyed when I disconnected there. I was surprised of the pace I had.
You're only 54 laps down, Pascal, on the waiver. I think he stays under safety car.
Yeah,
You might have a
maybe.
chance.
I have all these
Yeah.
penalties. I mean, Pascal was one of the least penalised drivers in the pit lane, that's for sure.
I
Okay,
wasn't
we
once
are
in the
going
pit lane
green
anyway,
restart.
so
And let's not forget Pascal third in Formula E this season, of course. So he's shown some serious pace and on the podium a couple of times in ERC. So it looks like they're getting ready to go now, though. As,
Joe Goldstitis.
Yeah, it's Ballet just trying to catch back up to the pack.
Bore's disconnected. He's out of the race. And
Oh,
Joe
same for
Boris,
Alba's
good.
car.
Joe Goldstitis claims that this is rigged. Sure, I'm not too sure on that one. But anyway, it is going to be Jorge Lopez who leads the field away for the first time this afternoon. 25 laps to go at the line in the Indianapolis 250. Jorge Lopez all of a sudden has a golden opportunity to get the win. So is Listola, so is Ocon. When is he going to choose to go? We've seen that the drivers who are most successful go very late, but he's going to go quite
Green
early.
flag.
Lopez, Chris Gistov calls the green flag, and it's a pretty good start from Lopez actually. Ocon now is trying to make up positions further down the grid, and now we see Boratovsky trying to make a move, and he hasn't really been anywhere this race. Neither has the guy ahead of him, and they're both really in mighty good positions in this race. And now Boratovsky's going to try and make the move, but let's focus our attention to the lead of the race, because Urkun's going down the inside on Listola, who doesn't quite have the speed, and Listola tries to make a move for the lead of the race. Not quite going to work in the end. Kanokrovich is down into 5th position as Boratovsky has got past him, and now there's further scuffles further back as Alejandro Valente is trying to make a move despite that stop go and drive through penalty. And well, Lopez still leads the race with about 25 laps to go. Urkun down the inside into 2nd position.
There's a little contact between two cars there. I think it might have been.
yeah, someone flipped into the pit lane there.
Oh dear.
There's yellow flags in
16th
sector
It was
3.
Schoenman. It was Peter Schoenman. And he might have hit Tobias Blumschein, actually.
And well, we ride back on board with Urkun. And right now, it's staying green running for the time being, despite the yellow flags. And I wonder if Chris Gitsov hasn't quite seen any incidents that may have happened, but we're still under yellow flags. But green flag running, we remain at. They do say cautions breed cautions, and we believe that these guys are all able to go
Doesn't seem to be
to the end.
breeding much caution from these drivers, Tom.
No, and well, Listola not quite having the pace to.
Interesting dynamic
Lead
right now,
this
though, with a lead group of 3 cars right now, able to slipstream each other probably right now.
And
Yeah.
well, Lopez is just a little bit away from these guys. That he's not really coming under a great deal of pressure from Urkun behind this. Yellow
Looks like
flags in
Tobias
sector
is
1.
serving that drive-through.
And that's a new drive-through because Tobias didn't actually have one earlier on. Ryan Mazumda's falling down
Oh,
the
he couldn't
pack. He's in
serve it
10th
under safety
position.
car, I don't think. That's what that's about.
I don't think anyone looking out for that, to be honest, but yeah.
But anyway, Tobias is a bit of a stickler for the rules as Valente pulls off, and now he serves his penalty too, which is even more severe than Tobias's one. So there you go. So the order now is Lopez, Urken, Listola, Larhoven, Kananowicz.
Oh, there's
Roger.
a huge mess up of a rejoin, and I don't know who that was from. And well, I know whatever. It was very lucky that there
from
was
the
no
Irish
accident there.
cars.
Now, Ryan Mazumda's trying to defend from David Wasserman. And, well, it's not quite able to work for him in the end. And, oh, they made contact, and Wasserman almost hits the wall with Ryan Mazumda. And that was quite dramatic in the end. And, well, Ryan Mazumda just about gets away with one. Lopez maintains the lead of the race. Urkun is under a little bit of pressure from Listola. But Listola eventually doesn't quite have the speed through the corner. Urkun really fancies his chances at winning this race. There's not long to go now. There's only about 20 laps. And might be 22 laps, actually. But Urkun now down the inside is going to try and make the move for the lead of the race. This could be the move that puts him into a position where he could go on to win this race. And he makes the move. And Listola gets the move down the inside as well. Very opportunistic, but working for him absolutely superbly. There's still a final Von car. Good news for Pascal in the commentary box. There's still a final Von car well in the hunt for this race lead. And with 8 pit stops, if he was to go on and win from here, that would be absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, and Larhoven not too far behind either in 4th.
Yeah, there was some contact behind. Seems like everyone carried on, though.
Yeah, Roger is just having a bit of a fight with Bevan for 6th at the moment. But it looks like it's all calmed down a bit.
Arda Urkun now coming under a bit more pressure from Listola, who's going to go for the move down the inside to be the second final Von car that's led this race so far. And he does take the lead of the race, Listola. And with 8 pit stops, he now leads. And that must be a record for the real-life Indy 500, never mind the 250. And now he's going to, it's not going to be easy for him, he's going to come under more pressure. Lopez down into third. He's just kind of slipstreaming the pack and just trying to relax, really. 20 laps remaining is the course. There's not long to go at all in this Indy 250. This is going to be an absolute titanic battle to the line. Valente's into the pits to serve his next penalty. And you can see, actually, he's just there getting involved in the lead battle. So he's going to be overtaken for, he's going to be lapped even, Alejandro Valente, which is bitter disappointment after being in a great position to go on and win the thing.
And it gives Listola a toe, crucially. Just briefly there.
Lopez still can't quite get through. And
yeah, there we go. That's going to help Listola just get those few temps he needs. But surely if Lopez can get in front, and there'll be blue flags being waved at Alessandro Valente at the moment, won't they, Tom?
But remember, he's under no obligation to let them through on an oval.
Yeah, but he already slowed down, letting everyone through there.
So, gentlemanly from Valente, but he is under no obligation to do so, through my understanding of the rules.
And, Cameron Roger also making some progress, fighting Alfie Bevan and Larhoven for fourth.
Yep, Roger around the outside now. And who's that down the inside? I think it's Bevan who's trying to make a move, and it's not quite going to be for him in the end. Rogers maintains fifth position in this race. However, he is going to have to stop again, almost certainly. 2 stops he's only made in this race, and he's still got that that pit sign on. And in fact, if he stops recently, then I'd assume Cameron Roger can get to the end of the race. He stopped under that safety guard, didn't he, with Tobias and co. Jorge Lopez makes a little bit of a meal onto the curbing, and has to stay behind these two for a moment.
Okay, full course yellow in
And we go
seconds.
back to safety car, and oh, that's Ryan Mazumda.
Oh,
And
no.
were there 2
Mazumda's
people
come to
involved
grief.
in that one? There was 3
4,
people involved, as
3,
Boratovsky was involved
2,
as
1.
well.
Full course yellow.
And Alfie Bevan,
Bevan just going backwards.
well, this is a sight to behold. And 130
seen a
mile an
car
hour
get-
backwards. How is he even doing that?
Almost like he's going faster backwards than he was going forwards. We did just see him fighting with Roger, didn't we? He pulled to the inside. Seemed like he got it a bit wrong and collected a few people, but he's got some good wing mirrors on
What
this
is
car.
going
hasn't
on
he?
here? What is going on
Surely
with this
is
car?
a disqualification, surely.
How is his
Well,
reverse gear this long? What is going on with Alfie Bevan?
Oh, maybe Monkey Sports have got some trick set up that we don't know about. Is he going to do a big drift turn here to get in the pits? Nope, he's just going to stop against the wall and then turn.
That is unbelievable from Alfie Bevan. I have never seen that before. He's going 130 mile an hour in reverse gear.
Maybe he got knocked around at that speed and he was able to just about maintain it.
And,
That's a bit
well, I don't think you can get
unbelievable.
disqualified for that because, I mean, there's no rule about which way your car has to be pointing.
Oh, this is bad news then for the top 3 because it allows Larhoven, Roger and Kananowicz to close back in again.
The rule is that you have to be going the right way around the track, and, I mean, he was.
Certainly providing some entertainment today, isn't he, Alfie Bevan?
I never say you have to be pointing in the right direction.
Yes, Joe Gostis says that Valente will still win. I'm not sure if he said that before or after Valente got his penalty.
He said that afterwards.
Okay, well, that shows the confidence he has in him. Tobias Blumschein has meanwhile has got up to 14th already after he is a lap down on the next car, of course. Basically, everyone down to Alfie Bevan is still on the lead lap, I think, although Bevan has come into the pits. And they will, of course, be allowed to unlap themselves. So we're getting into the closing stages then. It's not too long to go, is it, Tom?
Nope, there's only about 15 laps to go or so. And, once the safety car restarts, I imagine it'll be about lap 90, so we'll have about 13 laps to witness. And surely they can stay green for the duration of that. But it is Listola for Final Von Motorsport that leads the race. And once all these
Can
laps...
anyone make a late charge and get into this lead group, do you reckon? Or do you think it's going to be between the top 3 that we saw earlier, Listola, Erkin and Lopez?
I think this got it all together again.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit unpredictable, isn't it?
There was a nice 3-way group at the front, but that's gone now, and this can go either way again.
So Listola
Right.
encouraging the Final Von camp, who've had overall a pretty torrid time in this race, and that just shows the unpredictability.
Well,
of
Larhoven in 4th
over-racing.
as well, in the other Frinavon.
It shows that over racing is a lot about luck as well as speed. And whilst we're here, Ed, I might ask for a quick delegation. Would you mind leading the interviews once all is said and done? Because my dinner is
Sure thing.
on my desk going cold, so I'd quite like to eat that.
Yeah,
whilst
this
you
is the
conduct
same
interviews.
problem that we've had with the
Yes.
late start, isn't it? It's all just cutting into dinner. So yeah, I'm happy because I've already eaten.
Thank you
I've
very much.
made the sacrifice, and thanks for your service earlier, Tom. But whenever you need to go, just let me know, and I'll act like a lead commentator for a
Yes,
change.
I'll be managing the stream, but I'll be eating my dinner at the same time, so I won't be able to speak. Is basically the point there.
Because your mouth will be full. Yeah,
Yes.
I've got Pascal, luckily, to keep me company as
Yeah.
always. And it's great to have you, by the way, Pascal. Even though I'm sure you'd much rather have been continuing the race. We've got
Definitely.
to make the best of the situation.
Yep.
Looks like Nick Homewood, been watching. He says, while he's on holiday, he says, Calais Masterclass, Frinavond Domination. So he's clearly quite pleased with Listola's performance
Yeah,
so
he
far.
just told me he found he's in
We're
America
going
right now on
green this lap.
holidays.
Oh,
He found
we're going green at the end
McDonald's
of the lap.
with Wi-Fi.
Oh, wow. So I'm sure Nick Homewood is really enjoying our voices. And hello to everyone listening into the McDonald's in... where is Nick Homewood? Is he in the Bahamas or something?
No, I think I'm not sure right now.
Oh, it's probably
But
somewhere in Manchester or some part of the UK, isn't it? Hello,
No,
everyone.
no, he's in the USA right now.
Oh, in the USA. Okay.
I was going
well,
to say,
that does-
Manchester sounds like more of a prison than a holiday.
I don't know what Nick Homewood considers a holiday, so I didn't have any frame of reference. All I was told was he was on holiday. It could be anywhere, but like you say, USA. So
Yes.
yes, I don't really have a prepackaged comment apart from it's the Indy 250. Sorry,
Yes.
it's the Indy half of a 500.
Let's see. Restart time.
Here we go then. Calais Listola has only got about 14 laps to negotiate here. And, well, it's not going to be easy for him. Let's have a little bit of a ride on board with Arda Erkan, the driver just behind him. Lopez is still looking quite dangerous, and Listola is going to be up against it, but he's got a chance to win this race, and all you have to do is be within the lead lap in this final little sprint to the line. You'll hope it's the final sprint to the line. There's going to be, I believe it's going to be 13 laps to go at the line. When is he going to choose to go, Listola? It's going to be yet another Final Von Motorsport car leading the way, and the green flag flies according to the race director, and Erkan actually has to go defensive because it's Larhoven now into third position out of absolutely nowhere, trying to make this into a Final Von 1-2, and that would be a dramatic turn of events. Larhoven, after being in the catch fencing after one of the laps, is now in third position in this race, and he's got the jump on Lopez, and now Lopez is going to try and go around the outside on him. And is it going to work for Lopez? It's a huge accident behind. I can hear the sounds, and I can't quite see the accident. And I think it's involving Fabian Ballet, Carl Magnus Bore, and Peter Schunnemann. It's a wonder that they haven't gone back to safety car running, but they maintain the green flag at the moment. Listola leads the race. Larhoven's trying to make moves. He's being overtaken by Lopez as well down the inside, and Lopez eventually has to tuck back into the slipstream. And now the move from Larhoven down the inside, and now it's a Final Von Motorsport 1-2, and this could be huge for their chances of winning the race. If they can now slipstream off of each other, they can really pull a gap out here. Larhoven having to play the team game, the wingman role, and right now he's playing it quite perfectly. You can see the yellow flags just ahead as Lopez now tries to go around the outside on Larhoven. He switches to the inside, and there's a very, very slow car on the left-hand side there. And, well, Larhoven is holding up and being a bit of a roadblock for his teammate quite nicely now. But down the inside goes Lopez. And Larhoven has, well, defended like a bit of a lion there for a moment. And it's a 5/10 gap between Lopez and Listola. Perhaps the chance for Listola to go on and win this race. 91 of 102 in terms of laps. And Larhoven now under more pressure from Erkan around the outside. He's holding on quite well, Larhoven.
Indeed, yeah, it's all very, very action-packed, and Blumschein has got into the top 8
Oh,
there. So
dear,
excellent
Cameron Roger.
restart by Tobias.
Cameron Roger was
yes.
squeezed into the wall at the back there, and Callison's through.
Oh, yes.
And there's no crashes just yet, as we see Boratovsky being overtaken.
And Lopez takes the lead.
As Lopez has got the lead of the race. I didn't quite see that happen, but he is into the lead of the race, and now Listola has got a mighty old job to get on with here. He has got his teammate right behind him, acting as a bit of a roadblock with Emily Callison, who all of a sudden has a chance of winning this race. Valente is back. How is Valente back? Where has he come from?
Yeah, he served that penalty rather quickly, didn't he? And now he's back right in it, right ahead of Emily Callison. And yeah, it's really game on then. So the crucial final we're in the final 10 laps now, aren't we?
Stoller now around the outside and Valente's into the grass. So that's his chance of the lead almost evaporating in front of his eyes. Stoller still maintains this slipstream. There's going to be 10 laps to go at the line in the Indianapolis 250 here in SRL, the third annual running of this event, and Lopez goes very, very defensive. The yellow flag's in sector 3, and I wonder, is that going to be a safety car? No, I don't think so. 10 laps remaining is the call on the timing tower. Now around the outside, Lastolo, I don't think he's quite got the speed for that one. It's going to have to be moved down the inside, surely, but Lopez holds on to the lead of this race for the time being. Stoller in the slipstream is going to try and force something, force the issue. He's got to force the issue, and now he's got the overspeed, and around the outside, is he going to be able to make the move? And there's Alejandro Valente into the grass in the background, and I think he's just about got it back running again. Lahoven in third position still. There goes huge crash at the back.
Big crash behind.
That is a huge, huge accident, and I think it's Boritovsky. It's going to be Valente as well, and Chris Davis is involved. And, well, there was a plethora of cars into the wall, and it's a miracle that we've stayed green flag running. As now, Stoller around the outside thinks about it. He's still in the slipstream with 9 laps to go. Now around the outside, he hasn't quite got the overspeed. Cameron Roger is now into third position. He's got a chance of winning this race. And around the outside on both Lopez and Stoller, I don't think he's quite got the speed around the outside. Cameron Roger, no, they're into the wall! And Stoller loses out big time. And now Emily Callison is through into second position. And Lopez stays in the lead of the race. And Callison for Team Iris has all of a sudden got a chance to win this race. Lahoven has a chance to win this race. And Callison now around the outside. Tobias Blumschein is just at the back of this. And Callison leads the race eventually. Tobias Blumschein really thinks that he might be able to catch up to this battle. And there's a huge spin for Lahoven, who's into the wall. Tobias Blumschein inherits third position. And now it's between Lopez, Callison and Blumschein for the win of this race.
Yeah, Blumschein's done very well to recover here, but that was just yeah, we saw Lahoven right on the outside of Lopez. The two made contact. It was a bit like the Pignatara incident earlier. Here comes Lopez on the outside of Callison, but he can't quite get through at turn 3.
And Tobias Blumschein is down the inside now. And Tobias Blumschein has a chance to take the lead of the race over his Irish teammate of Emily Callison. He's fought so hard for this. 18th position he was on lap 75. And now on lap 96, Tobias Blumschein is back into second and trying to chase his teammate. Lahoven out of the race. I don't think there's going to be another safety car in this race. I think they now are staying on green flag running. And now Emily Callison is going to have to defend from her teammates. Tobias Blumschein down the inside to try and get the win of the race. And it's 3 wide down into turn 4. And Tobias Blumschein inherits the lead of the race. He takes the lead of the race away from Emily Callison. And now as they head into lap 97, Lopez is now, well, I imagine Callison's going to sit just pretty there and try and hold off Lopez to try and help Blumschein a little bit, unless there's no team orders at Iris. And almost bump drafting.
Really, I think Callison's out for herself here. And Tobias is going to have to watch his mirrors very, very closely. Look at
Lopez! Lopez was so close to the wall there, and all of a sudden Stoller still is in with a chance of this. Blumschein is doing quite well, and there is a little bit of team orders from Team Iris. Callison bump drafted Blumschein down the straight, and now is just really holding off Lopez at this stage in the race. Lap 98 it will be at the line, and Blumschein has only got to put in a few more good laps to win the Indianapolis 250. He's going to put himself into a very prestigious list of what will be 3 people after this race, and I hope we can do this event next year as well to make it even more. Lopez now tries to go around the outside of Callison. Callison defends it bravely, and they make a little bit of contact. There's going to be 5 laps remaining.
Yeah, I'm just seeing that again. Yeah, really, Lopez almost hung out to dry on the outside by Emily Callison, who's doing a superb job right now. As Tobias Blumschein just holds on. It's
and really there's contact!
Lopez that can stop him.
Lopez can't wriggle his way through, and it's going to be lap 99 at the line. There's going to be 4 laps to go. And Tobias Blumschein right now is doing absolutely everything he can to lead this race, to win this race. Tobias Blumschein has fought from absolutely everywhere today, and right now it's working for him quite well. Callison is actually now going to start to attack her teammate a little bit, maybe. Only 3 laps to go at the line. There's not long to go in this race at all. And this...
I think if Callison gets a run, she's just going to go for it. So Tobias really needs to stay on his A game here. And it's really going to start heating up now.
This is going to be one of the best finishes we have ever seen in SRL. It's going to be Callison or Blumschein, or maybe even Lopez's if he can catch back up. And I think the gloves are going to be off at Iris now.
Oh no, Roger's got Listola and Wasserman fighting with him. Where's Wasserman come from?
The gloves are going to be off at Iris, I think, now, and if Callison does get a run, I think she's going to try and make the move. 3 laps to go then. Tobias Blumschein has got to put in the best 3 laps of his career. He's been saying that he's been approached by a huge team, and this is certainly going to his prospects of getting that particular gig a lot more legs, I suppose. Lopez now trying to make the move on Callison. This is helping Blumschein, as now all of a sudden, if these two battle, it's going to give him a bit of a chance. And there's contact! And Callison's into the wall!
Oh no!
And Tobias Blumschein now has got Lopez as they head into the final 2 laps of the race. Is Lopez going to wait for the final lap to make the move? Or is he just going to try and do it as soon as possible? We'll have to wait to see. 2 laps to go then in the Indy 250. The 3rd running of this event, as I said. And now around the outside, Lopez for the lead of the race. Blumschein defends it bravely down the inside. And Lopez can't quite find the legs around the outside. He has a huge slide. He's into the wall. And Tobias Blumschein all of a sudden could win this race. He's got a lap and a half to go in a 1.3 second gap. Don't throw it away now, Toby.
Yeah, Jorge Lopez, the sparks flying at his back as he hit the wall there. Now Tobias has got the golden opportunity now. Callison and Lopez are really not a threat anymore. Roger is gamely holding on to third. Wasserman has got his way past Listola for 4th. So those guys all fighting for 3rd.
It's a 2-second gap heading into the final lap of the race, and Tobias Blumschein is going to win the Indy 250. He was 18th heading in to the 75th lap of this race. He had a stop-go penalty. We thought it was all over for him. It wasn't all over. He's fought his way through the field, and no one quite knows how he's got up into 1st position. But Tobias Blumschein is almost certainly now going to win this race. All he's got to do is navigate 2 more corners of this 2.5 mile oval, one of the most hallowed racetracks in the world in its virtual form, and Tobias Blumschein is going to come across the line. Rogers gets 2nd, but Tobias Blumschein, it's all about him at the moment. He crosses the final corner now, and Tobias Blumschein is going to win the Indy 250, and he has fought from absolutely nowhere for that, and it's going to be a drag race for the line for 2nd between Rogers and Lopez just gets it at the line for 2nd. Wasserman finishes in 4th, and Rogers has to finish 3rd in the end, but Tobias Blumschein wins the Indy 250 out of absolutely nowhere. What a performance from Toby.
Absolutely, what a superb finish there. You have to feel a little bit for Lopez, was so close to just snatching it there, and also a bit for Callison as well, because it was just one of those things that happened where I think Lopez sort of missed and Callison sort of misjudged it, where I think almost like Callison was trying to move back to the outside and Lopez was going there as well. So it was just, from what I saw, it just looked like one of those miscommunications there. But certainly Tobias just worked his very excellently. Didn't lose his head after that penalty, just working it in. Everyone dropped off ahead of him and he just worked his way back up to the front and then held on by the skin of his teeth. Or 2 seconds to be precise. A
driver who has been criticised for his desperation at times.
I've not been that
That's
critical.
the end of Indy 250. Congratulations to Tobias Blumschein, Jorge Lopez, and Cameron Roger for being top 3.
And you can say full marks to Cameron as well. Just lost out on
Thank
second
you
at the end
for
there.
participating in the race, and have a great evening.
And
looks like Cameron's trying to do some donuts as well.
A driver who has been criticised for his desperation to win at times, Tobias Blumschein.
The two irises bumping into each other there.
In that Formula E race a few weeks ago when he had such
I'm sure he doesn't want to be reminded of that, right?
Yes, exactly. And, well, he's come back from all of that and he's shown such a mature and measured drive, and Tobias Blumschein certainly deserves this one. What a performance from him. We'll head to the classification then of race 1 here at the Indianapolis 250. It is Tobias Blumschein who wins for Team Iris. Jorge Lopez in 2nd position, Cameron Roger in 3rd, David Wasserman, Kalle Listola 4th and 5th, Emily Callison is 6th, and then it's Canon Rothfuss in 7th, Ryan Mazumda in 8th, Fabian Ballet in 9th, Alejandro Valente finishes 10th in the end. Chris Davis is 11th, and then Andrzej Boszkowski is in 12th. James Smagazale in 13th, and Cole Magnus Bore, the last of the classified finishers, in 14th. And, well, we're going to be going to some interviews now as I just close down R Factor 2. And, well, I'm going to hand this one over to Ed, so feel free to drag in whoever you want. I'm going to go and grab my dinner.
Well, I think let's Thanks very much for your help, Tom. I think we're going to drag in the race winner then. So I'm sure, Pascal, you can jump in if you have any questions, but I don't have permissions actually to tag anybody in. So that's going to be a slight issue. But I was trying to drag Tobias in, and it said I can't.
I don't think I can help you with that right now.
Okay, right. Well, I'll tell him you have to come in yourself. I'll send in I'll have to send in the password now, won't I? It'll take forever. Okay.
I will be out though. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Cheers, Pascal. Right.
User disconnected from your channel.
So that's Pascal gone then. Let me look if I can find the
User joined your channel.
Ah, there we go. Ah, Toby's just joined us. Right.
Hi.
Well done, Tobias. We've just been joined now by the winner of the Indy 250 after a long, difficult drive. It took a while to get going, but wow, what a comeback, Tobias. From the back of the field in the last 25 laps or so, what a charge you put on. And you and Emily working superbly well. And you just held Jorge off on that tri-ultimate lap, I think, when Jorge just hit the wall. And then it was yours to take, wasn't it? So tell us a bit about that. I know you must be exhausted.
Yeah, it was a bit of an interesting race. I mean, I think
That's putting it mildly.
yeah, no, I think obviously as saying as an owner, I think I could have done a few things better, obviously, like just discussing the planning the race. There were a few things I did pretty stupid here. Everyone who stepped in, though, really good job from them. I'm really happy for what they did, helping me with all of this. It's been a very tough job. I don't think I'm going to be doing it again, though, because I just don't have the time. I won't have the time soon. And it's just, well, no, it's been quite tough. And I don't know. It's been, apart from the win, yeah, that's, I guess, a bit of a bonus. It was good fun racing a few people. I liked some of the three wide moves I did. They were good fun. Excuse me.
Not sure thing. You take the time you need. We've got other drivers who probably want to talk as well.
Big shout out to people like Cameron. They were good sports. I mean, most of the people I raced were fine. Obviously, I heard a few things negative about some drivers. I won't out them right now. I don't really think that's right now. So no. It was an interesting race, definitely. Obviously, not the optimal ending for people like Alessandro. I mean, the guy was mental all race. Probably should have had the piece. Probably could have won it if it wasn't for that.
Well, he
incident.
did 2 laps where he was on the grass in a row, which is probably not the ideal.
Really, he got really unlucky with the moving, which was a bit of an issue. But no, yeah, no, I'm happy I got the win at least, though. Second ever win in sim racing. It was a bit of a bonus, but no, yeah.
Yeah, he's certainly put an amazing drive there. I'm going to see if we can drag Jorge Lopez in. Our second place man. You can do that because I don't have permissions. So I'm going to rely on you for this, Tobias. Even though you've done all the hard work in the race, and now you got to help me with the interviews.
I forgot to give Tom admin. That's the thing.
Okay. Well, you didn't. Nobody gave me admin permissions either.
There were some interesting moments. When I went a lap down because I had front wing damage with the incident with Job. I genuinely thought the race was done. So having that final code 80 kind of got me a bit of luck. So
were you and Emily in the voice chat coordinating that end together? Because
I was in the voice chat with I think half of with the Monkey Esports and the Iris cars.
Okay, that must have been interesting because you would have Alessandro and Emily and of course Chris as well, Carl Magnus. Oh, right.
No, Jorge doesn't want to.
Okay, well, fair enough. He didn't reply to me either.
No.
Right, and I guess Cam is already buggered off somewhere.
But no, apart from that, it was an interesting race. I think the beginning of the race, fighting with Fabian and crap, was good.
Yeah, it was. Fabian, Roberto Pignatara, and was it Valente, wasn't it?
Yeah, big shame with Roberto though. I was looking forward to racing him a bit more because he was a genuine threat for our team. We were worrying about him. We were worrying about generally the entirety of that of the virtual sim, the TX3 boys. They were really, really quick all race long. So no, it's a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, certainly TX3 were a big threat, and it was a shame Ballet also coming to grief a bit later on. But Wasserman made a very good back himself. I think he just about got into, was it 5th or 4th at the end?
Yeah.
Him and Lahoven were quite together. Yeah. Maybe David wants to have a word, because I'm sure Fabian's probably a bit annoyed about how his race went.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to David. Go and chat to him quickly. I'm going to quickly give you admin though, so you can quickly move.
Okay, cheers. Right, well, we'll see if there's anybody who wants to. Oh, well, Alfie Bevan wants an interview, and so does Carl Magnus. So let's hear what Alfie and Carl have to say.
Yeah, right. Yep. Have a good
Oh,
one.
thanks. Cheers, Tobias. And thank you very much, Dungers, and enjoy your victory because it's well earned.
Thank you.
And it
User
was a
left
pleasure to
your
watch you
channel.
drive. Anyway, okay.
User was moved to your channel.
So we're now joined by the one, the only, Alfred Bevan, as Joe likes to call you. So, Alfie, you joined quite late for the start of the race. We started quite late as well.
I did.
And you had some adventures out there today. Would you like to tell us about any of them?
Well, I thought I had quite a good race. I got up to about 5th or 4th or so in the last few laps. Then I got pushed into the pit lane. And I got to stop and go, but they didn't remove it. So I got DQ.
So that's brought it to a screeching halt, I'm afraid, then.
Yeah, but I got my driving standards from my great Volta. He's a good friend, he is.
Okay.
Great mentor.
So did you enjoy the event that you got to take part in, I guess?
It was alright. Race direction was a bit questionable, but it was alright.
Well, considering Chris was dragged in at the last minute, I thought Mr. Gitz did a pretty admirable job, overall, all things considered. Shall we let Alessandro Valente and Carl Magnus Bore join in?
Yes.
Okay.
User was moved to your channel.
Whoa!
User
I
was
got a
moved
lot
to
of
your
stuff
channel.
to say.
Okay,
Hey,
so
guys.
I thought I'd let
User joined
Alessandro
your
and Carl
channel.
Magnus in at the same time. Hey again, Tobias. Um,
I got a lot of stuff to say.
okay.
I'm just kidding, I don't.
Okay, I guess you'll go first then, Carl Magnus, since you were waiting the longest. So there were a couple of times I could have sworn you got disconnected and I thought you were out of the race, and then suddenly you were back in it and you were back on the lead lap. That happened a couple of times, and then I think your luck ran out, unfortunately, near the end. So tell us a bit about that. I have a lot of cars to keep track of. I'm sorry if I'm not doing your driving. If I'm doing you a disservice there in my description.
I did have a disconnect at the end. I couldn't really do much about it, but I didn't really recover from that. But in the beginning, I somehow went over the barriers and into the grandstands. But I managed to get back to the lead lap.
Wow, you weren't the only one who had that happen to you. I'm pretty sure Roberto Pignataro was sent into the grandstand at one point. But I'm sure Alessandro doesn't want me to talk about that. But anyway, but it was quite a lot of action out there. And we've heard a bit about some of the free wide stuff that was going on. Were you involved in any of that, Carl Magnus?
A few times, but it didn't always end very well. Like for me, I went into the barriers, so yeah.
So an unfortunate end, but did you enjoy your race, the bit that you got to take part in?
Well, yeah, some of it. It was a bit boring at the end because I was just doing lapping, and even under
I
the
think
yellow
Alfie
flag.
said something quite similar. Yeah,
Yeah, under the yellow flag, I was literally just lapping, like, I don't know, the whole field like 5 times, and I was still like 2 laps down. So I couldn't really do much and was kind of boring. But otherwise, decent racing, I think. And some good
Microphone
good
activated.
overtakes and that.
Oh, well, thanks for telling us about it, Carl Magnus, and we hope to see you again soon in other championships. And unlucky
Yes.
about the disconnection. But anyway, shall we move on to you, Alessandro? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. So it was looking very good at one point, and then you got a monster of a penalty. What was it? It was a stop and go, wasn't it?
And a drive-through, and a drive-through.
And a drive-through. So you had to do 2 penalties.
Well, it was for something that just wasn't my fault, right? A lot of people were checking up, under the caution. Kept on slowing down this massive accordion, and all of a sudden I see a car coming towards my face. So I go, I go across the pit. I don't enter the pits, but I get a stop-go and a drive-through penalty. I was pleading the race direction to remove the penalties, but nothing happened. But then, in the last 10 laps or so, I was in 15th after the last caution. I managed to get up to like 5th, 4th. I was ahead of Tobias. I was ahead of like anyone who could have won the race. And then I got into a little tussle on a straight, and I lost everything. And then that's it. That's what I've.
Just too much on the grass then.
Yeah. Well, I think I would have kept it, but there were some people who didn't see me coming behind us, and then, yeah.
But incidents aside, it was a very strong race by you, though. And as you are one of my drivers in another series that I commentate on, I'm more inclined to praise your performance and the good bits of the race than the bits that maybe didn't quite go your way towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
But your pace was excellent, and you put on quite a show for us, which is why I hired you.
That's cool.
So Unlucky about the end. Where did you come in the end?
10th, something like that. I came 10th.
10th, okay. Oh, top 10 is not too bad for a first try. But I'm sure we'll see you back next year for
Yeah.
the next 250. So unlucky end, but great to talk to you. And I guess I'll see you again at Road Atlanta for the ERC touring cars
Yes,
when you're
you
back
will.
in my green machines. Excellent, because we still need that championship lead. We're at 2 points of Sven Gielhead, I think. Or 8 points.
Iris is gonna win. Iris winning. Team Iris.
I can't make this.
Monkey
There you go.
Sports, Monkey Sports.
Monkey, you're not
Team
even
Iris.
driving in ERC touring cars, Monkey Sports. That's
for
why
sim
you're
racing.
driving for me then.
I carry the spirit of the monkeys wherever I go.
Okay.
Greenpoint Racing.
Tom is loving this. I'm sure he's eating at the moment. And
I'm actually
loving
done.
monkeys.
I was.
Oh, wow.
I was
Do you have
ready
any
to-
questions, Tom? Because we still got Tobias somewhere in the background, I'm sure.
No,
but,
I think that 3 hours in, it's probably a good time to round out the stream.
Okay.
It's,
Wasserman didn't want to talk. I could try Emily, because Emily.
No,
might have
I
something to
think
say.
we're genuinely
Okay.
wrap it up purely because we've just hit the 3 hour
Yeah.
mark. And
Gotta leave the studio.
Yeah, fair enough.
and
Hey, well, thanks you for joining us and talking to us, guys. And
Shout out to
pleasure.
Kim.
And well, from me, Tom Dillon, and Edward Hunter, and Pascal as well, who joined the stream earlier on, we'd like to thank you all very much for watching.